and I didn't know that my cousin had made the name, but I assumed like that we made it as a group. So I had took the name, and my uncle made a logo and all that stuff like that.
Okay.
10 years later, I found out my cousin actually put the name up. So I apologize. He was like, no, it's cool. And we all creators or whatever. So now, as long as it was within, the bloodline, everything was cool. So I just ran with it after that. So, and it sounded kind of cool back then.
Okay.
It does sound cool.
Yeah.
For entertainment.
Hold on. Hold on. You know it sound cool to me, Playboy.
Groove.
All day long. I love it.
Yeah, I used to know somebody that has a production company called Groove Control. Groove
Oh yeah,
Control.
I know him.
Okay. Oh, you know him?
The producer.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Smitty, we used to hang together.
Yeah,
we was all in the same spot.
Right, exactly.
You forgot we go way, way, way back, right?
Yeah, way back.
Way back. So we are live on Facebook, y'all. So I'm going to start the show in a second. I just want to make sure everybody's face is looking all right. We good. Whoever's coming on, I'm getting ready to start it and do the intro to the show.
Let me know when to hit the broadcaster.
You hitting it?
Let me know when.
Okay. I had a question.
Okay.
Monica, if you wanted to share the link on Facebook, it is up there. It's on my Facebook.
Okay. I did. I put it on there already. Yep.
Oh, okay. Just let you know the actual Facebook Live is going, and then I'm going to start the show. I think I need my glasses. I can't see at all. Sorry. All right, everybody. You ready? You ready, DJ Kid Disco?
Yeah.
I'm going to do it just like that. You ready? All right. You ready, DJ Kid Disco? We getting ready to start the 9-year anniversary of single on a Saturday night. 9 years. This is one of the longest relationships I ever had. I think I lost a man because I'm married to my career. You know what I mean? So this is my boo right here. All y'all not Oh, really? That's what you're going to do? That's what you're going to do? I am Shelly Williams, single on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe even every day. Single every day. That's what I am. And I am so grateful to be doing something for 9 years. And I don't do this just because I need to talk about single. I do this because I love the relationships we build. I love the people. I love to have fun. And I believe in the power of talk therapy. And it doesn't have to be all single people. It doesn't have to be married people. It's just people talking about relationships, because we've been in a relationship since we came out the womb. Literally, when we came out the womb, we was like, and that's our relationship started with our parents. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass it on. Let's talk about the biggest thing we've learned throughout the 9 years. Tamara has been here 9 years, the whole 9, like day one. David has been here the whole 9. He was maybe day 5, and but still, it's almost like day 1. So talk about the beginning parts, and I'm gonna go to David first, and then Tamara, because I'm not sure she's coming on camera, and she's the only one that got married in the crew. Well, we had one other marriage, but
from the beginning, David Pulley got married.
David Pulley, dang!
Don't forget David Pulley now, boy.
I'm talking about from the day 1. I was really going from day 1. Day 1 was literally she was here day 1, and she got married. But of course, David Pulley, he was destined to get married.
That's right.
What do you mean? That was his destiny.
That's right. Soulmate. I'm looking at.
I was married, Shelly. I was here. I got married.
You was married the whole time. You was married when you came in.
Oh, okay.
You've been married and dating the whole time.
Right. I'm just looking at the different venues we were able to broadcast the show, making connections with so many different people, and some of the topics that were just outstanding. I just remember the wife and the mistress one, where the sister was there for almost 20 years as the mistress, and the wife had an agreement.
Wow.
That was a powerful one. So
no, wait a minute. You hit home, because that's what we're getting ready to talk about today.
Turned it into a book.
That always stood out. That show always stood out to me. And then the one, Shelley, where we talked about dating somebody with a chronic illness. If you know that ahead of time, that was a powerful show.
Wow, that is. You just
Those
brought it
two
back
shows
there.
stand out to me the most. On this journey, being able to meet Stormy Weathers, Dr. David Pulley, the late great Christopher,
Yeah.
those things that stand out. Then we had Catrice coming there styling and profiling, and then the core of people who've always supported the show. LaShawn always been there. People that always that showed up all the time. Then the insight from Tamara, her little her spotlight moment. So we've had a good run, and so many other people who have shared their books, their stories. So when you talk about Single on Saturday Night, you're talking about more than just personal relationships as far as a man and a woman. We're talking about just things people go through, things people living through, things people need to learn from. So that always stands out for me. And I always love when you always announce Smitty, when you say Groove Boy Entertainment. Just love that. Always love hearing that word. So those are the experiences that I love so much about being a part of the show. And I always say, I'm the longest tenured man on the show.
Yes, you are. I have to say that it was such a blessing to be able to meet you. I mean, when your sister was like, my brother, and I mean, from the moment you entered, you've been like MVP. I always be like, you are the MVP, and you've been the MVP for 9 years. Like, I promise you, you stepped in, you helped up, you hosted the events at your house, you did everything. You brought people. So I mean, promise you, this is our journey together, and I just want to keep emphasizing, it's not about just being single, because I don't plan to be single forever. I mean,
right.
I really don't, because I'm gonna be married in 2021. I'm just saying, I'm gonna be married in 2021. So I'm saying to you, we're still gonna do the show because I'm gonna be married in 2021. And if I don't happen to make 2021, maybe 2020.
Right. Now remember, Michelle, you always gonna be negotiating. As long as you out here, you're negotiating. That's right. Yeah. Call it that term. I'm negotiating.
Yeah, I'm definitely negotiating. I'm negotiating and doing my thing. So thank you so much for being here for 9 years, and honestly, this is almost like ministry to me. This is ministry to us. It's us giving back. It's not like we do this because, hey, it's just something fun. Next up, Tamara Williams, are you going to say something? Tamara Williams?
Hi, hello out there.
Hi,
Hey,
Tamara Williams.
Can you hear me? Yes, you done put my whole name out there. Yes, when I started with the show.
Miss Tasty, where you been?
Hey, I am around. I'm driving right now. I'm always out in the street, on the go, doing the tasty thing. I am still here though. Like you said, David pretty much said everything. He took the words right out of my mouth. But Shelley, I'm going to add on to what you said and agree. Yes, for me, I will say these 9 years, it was a ministry coming in. Sometimes your ministry, you don't know where you're going to get ministered to and where it's going to come from. And I have to say, Single on Saturday Night was a ministry for me. Like you just said, my whole government name. When I started 9 years ago, I was Tamara Wiggins. On Facebook, Tasty Tamara. That was it. 2 years into the show, I gets married. So now it's Tamara Wiggins Williams. So yes, if you follow me on Facebook, that W is not my middle name. It's my maiden name. And of course, my favorite show is going to always be episode 42. That's the interview.
That's your interview. Let me tell you, that interview gets a lot of views on YouTube. I promise you, her interview with her husband gets a lot of views, a lot of comments. Yo, don't read the comments though. It's not nice. Some of the comments is not nice.
But you know what? That was people walking in their truth, and they, it wasn't something that was hurtful for me. So yeah, I did read some of those comments, but those negative comments just proved the way for positivity. Because come June 29th, we'll be on 7 years.
7 whole years. Yo, we need to
Yes.
dance today. We need to dance today.
DJ Kid.
She came in single. I mean, really single, not even fake single. She wasn't doing like me. I'm fake single in a relationship one day, relationship the next day. Not me. She was really single and really waiting for the king that God had prepared for. I'm proud of you on that because you did not do a lot of dating. You really was.
No, I didn't. I came in, and I think when I came in, it was a shock single. We're going to say SS. I was the shock single because people were looking at me like, oh, she got the name with Tasty. She out there doing this, that, and the other. And I'm going to say it here on the live. I was 5 years in celibate. And then, you know, comments came behind that. Oh, she lying. She this. We ain't going to talk about the vibe I had, but we just going to go there. I was 5 years being celibate, okay? You just got to release, you got to release. But I'm just saying.
You got to do what you got to do.
Gotta do.
But you know what, though, Tasty? I know I'm back to Tasty again. You know what, Tasty, though? When you say you got to do what you got to do as far as us, back when we first started, no lie, I couldn't even talk about something like that. It was like, oh my God, Jesus is gonna get me. Like I was really, now I'm like, I have progressed, understood, I understand.
Yes.
9 years later, having having some conversations with Nikki Phelps, it seemed like we in a whole new life. It just seems I was really, I don't know what I was just so close, like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about sex. Oh my God, no. What is this? I wouldn't even dress sexy, but yeah. So yes, do what you gotta do, honey.
Well, Shelly Shell, I would be remiss if I didn't say something. First of all, I'd like to thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I remember when I met you, first of all, I felt like, why did I not know who Shelly Shell was? But I met you, but you were just a wonderful person. And when you invited me out to this show, I never knew that I would meet such wonderful people. David has been there in my life so many years. I consider him a friend. I look at Tasty. We have some of the most serious conversations and silly conversations. I mean, you reintroduced me to people, okay, that I knew from my past that came back, and we are so cool. And I love singing with him when we do karaoke. But out of all the shows, I have to tell you about my favorite show, and it's not even because of the show. You never know what's going on behind the scenes. I kid you not. This particular show, we were talking about anal sex, and why did you put me next to Pastor Heath during this show? And me and Pastor Heath had the most in-depth conversation I have ever had in my life with this pastor about anal sex, and y'all will never know what that show meant to me.
Oh man, anal sex. That was that was pretty interesting.
Yes. And Pastor had questions, and I'm not gonna say he had judgments, but Pastor questioned me, Pastor questioned him, Pastor had questions about his wife, and I was just sitting there sweating, like, Lord. I remember we had shows where certain people in their face, they didn't know how to fix their face. And we sitting there like, can you please fix your face? You on camera, can you please fix your face?
Yeah, that
was in love with Pastor Heath too. A lot of y'all women love Pastor Heath.
Oh, we miss Pastor Heath. Oh, we miss him too. But there are some people that just came for a season, for a reason. And then there are some of us that just never went away, Shelly. We just stuck with you.
Thank you for never going away. I really, really appreciate it. You know, I never said this about Pastor Heath, but you know, he was the way I got started. The only way I could get started, I needed money. And Pastor Heath sponsored it. And we didn't put it out there like that. I mean, it wasn't like, yo, let me tell everybody that. But I have to honor him now because I would have been able to pay for production or anything if Pastor Heath didn't help me with the money. And he for his ministry, so we promoted his ministry, of course, but it was more like, I believe in what you're doing, and here I'll help you out. So he sponsored the shows in the beginning, and I you know, everybody wants to know, how do you do TV? How do you keep it going? And that's how you start. You start with sponsors, people who believe in your vision. And Pastor Heath did. And like you said, he was there for a season. You know, he was there for a reason and a season. So I have to thank him. Definitely thank Pastor Heath. Since you brought him up in the anal show, how do you bring up the pastor and the anal at the same time? I don't know. Well, but I learned one thing. It was a guy I was dating in the audience at that particular time. And he made it quite clear on camera that that's what he wanted. But that's not what happened in my life. You see, I'm single, right? I can't do no
that'll do it.
He said, what's that called when you say it's a requirement? Yeah, a requirement. Like, that's a requirement. Well, you can't require stuff like that. That's not going to happen. But so thank you so much, Nikki. I think another person, so I'm gonna go Smitty, Pulley, David Pulley, and then Stormy, and then Catrice. I think that's the way it came in. I think that's the order you came in the show. But
Catrice was there before me.
oh, sorry, Catrice. I apologize.
I'm the baby in the crew.
Smitty, Pulley, Catrice, and then Stormy. Smitty came in, of course, day 5. I don't think you were there day 1, but I think you were day 5, right, Smitty?
Because I know we were shooting Urban Expressions before we even started the show.
Oh yeah, we did Urban Expressions first, but you know, this thing on the Saturday night, always Urban Express, put your X up. I'll shout out Urban Express, always put your X up, but this is single on the Saturday night.
Right.
So you came into single on a Saturday night to help, right? You came, you know, it was an Urban Expression.
True. Yeah, because Howard was basically the guy, of course, but you know, just to make it the show that it had to be, you know, he called me. Actually, I think you called me first. And, since I like doing video, you know, it wasn't no problem for me to do it. It was just something exciting to do. And I like.
Why you talking all quiet? You gotta talk up.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all can't hear me.
For editing purposes,
you're on the camera now, so you actually have to speak up, bro.
Sound
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Much better.
All right. I don't know what y'all heard, but no.
So,
I mean,
so talk about your moment. Talk about the moments on Sing on a Saturday Night.
Basically, overall, it's learning on the surface. It's basically an ongoing class of relationships. You know what I mean? And if you put it in a broad perspective, what I determine is basically the two individuals that are in a couple or plan on getting married is what they make marriage. Marriage to me is like it's not a one dominant overall, this is what marriage is type of thing. I think marriage is basically whatever the couple makes it. It's just a title. But at the same time, I admire single people and married people. You know, it doesn't even matter what kind of status they're in, as long as they're good people. But everybody has their different terminology of what being single is and being in a relationship is and being married and being divorced. So I just learned a lot from all the different types of subject matter we had with relationships. I think they knocked it on the head when he said he was talking about one of the shows that was most memorable to him was the one with the terminal illness.
Oh yeah, that was dear to you. That was dear to you. That was real to you.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't about, well, that particular show wasn't really about the subject matter. It was about there's a lot of people that go through this on a normal basis, like a lot of couples, married couples, not just couples, but married couples, like that's in like 20. And it was one lady that was there, one girl that was there that had lupus. My wife had lupus. And she was like, in between, you know, we do the 2 shows. She's like, all right, I'm about to go to work. I'm like, what? I'm like, you can work? Like, my wife can't work. Why can you work? But I didn't know that it was so many different types of lupus, like it's so many different types of cancer and stuff like that. Yeah, it's I enjoyed every single show. Whether it was hard, whether it was sad, whether it was happy, whether it was fun, especially when we did the guys versus the girls and all that. So we brought a lot to the show in 9 years. Um,
We
and
did.
the panel had changed over time. Like when we started, the panel was different as opposed to now. The panel is different. We seen a lot of people come and go. So um, I miss those guys. But it's good seeing Dave Pulley. Shout out to Dave, man. I ain't see you in a minute, man. What's going
Good seeing you too, Smitty.
Congratulations on your marriage and everything, man. I don't think I got a chance to hit you up on the IG, but congratulations and continued success, man.
Thanks, bro.
Good seeing you.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, well, we're gonna go ahead since he brought you out. Let's go ahead to David. I want to put a pin in the battle of the sexes. I love the battle of the sexes, but go ahead. You know, it reminds me of the one we had at the other building, the one on Germantown Avenue, which was the first one, and we had it live at the thing. Remember, David? Both David.
54.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember David?
Yeah.
I ran across
David
the
Pulley.
picture.
David Pulley.
I ran across the picture.
I still got the trophy sitting right up there. I don't know if y'all can see it. It's the one with the stars.
The men won it. That's right. The men won it all.
Yep.
Men won it all.
We took that one. Yeah.
All right, so Dr. Dave Pulley, who is married and his first baby girl. Go ahead, talk to him.
Yes, it's interesting. A lot has changed. You know, I've just always I've loved the energy from the crew on the show and all of the many different interesting conversations over the years that I was a part of the show. I believe I was with the show for 4 going on 5 years, and you know it was just a blessing. You know, every month, you know, it was going to be an interesting conversation, and I love the hangout afterwards. You know, that was something that I looked forward to every month. You know, just a good group of people, and you know, very very provocative topics and conversations, thought provoking. And you know, and even the some of the challenges and disagreements about different opinions, you know, how we were able to work through, you know, it's basically a family, you know. So I think that the lessons and topics and perspectives, the many different perspectives that were on the show, gave a wide variety of things to think about, you know, and it was a little bit of something for everybody. You know, there's always been perspective for people to kind of take bits and pieces, you know, here and there, and take what you need and leave what you don't, right? You know, so that's what it's always been. And you know, some of the things that, you know, I learned was, you know, just kind of making sure that I also practice what I preach. You know, the cast and the audience would keep me on my toes, you know, because I was presenting information that not everybody was with. I was also on the show walking and promoting the celibate path. And you know, everybody, it became a thing, kind of teasing me in a good way about saying that I was single but unavailable. You know what I mean? And you know, so I presented topics that I think, you know, kind of shook things up, and sometimes was controversial and maybe even challenging. And the audience and the cast kept me on my toes and made sure that I you know, stayed on top of my game, you know, which has made me a better professional, a better therapist, and really helped me be a better husband. You know, kind of started me on the skill set journey of what I needed to be a husband, which I was able to become towards the end of my tenure on the show. So you know, it's really been a great experience, and I'm just so happy that the show is continuing to go on. And you know, happy anniversary.
Thank you. I think Catrice only came to the show for Dr. David Pulley, because she saw it on Meetup that Dr. David Pulley was going to be there, and she liked your ministry. So she ain't even there for us. She was there to see Dr. David Pulley and his ministry because she liked the way he was ministering the soulmate thing. So go ahead, Catrice. I ain't mean to put you out there, but you wasn't really there for me or nothing.
Well, I was there. Actually, I was there for actually both of y'all because I did see, I did recognize him in his ministry, and I also was like, oh snap, that's Shelly Shell from Urban Expression. So, but it's been over 5 years since I've been with y'all, since I've been knowing y'all, and I know, and but what I love about it is the fact that it's not just us getting together, for business. It's actually, like everybody says, it's a family. Everybody gets together and we grow and we build and grow relationships. And it always amazes me how one person can get so many people together. It still baffles me how you can do that. And then get more people to come and be a part of it. So, but I loved everything about it. I like talking about relationships. So, I absolutely loved everything from listening to. I definitely love listening to the guys and how they David Pulley, David Scott, Stormy, and whoever else would come on and share the expertise, because the fact that I'm a woman, I want to be with a man, I want to get the male perspective. So it was just always amazing to me to come in, and then on top of that, come in and be treated like family and not treated like, we don't really know you, but more of like, come on, join us. And then Shelly got me to do some karaoke, and I do not do that, but that was okay. But yeah, overall, it was just fun meeting so many different people, and also being a part of coming in and being a part of y'all family. That was the amazing part to me. So it's been good.
Thank you, darling. I love you. Go on, Stormy. Stormy and I go back, way back. So go ahead, Stormy.
First and foremost, again, I thank God for even being able to be here today. Breath in my lungs and the faculty of my body. Because without him, we are nothing. But I'm bringing up, the infancy of being here. This is my going into my 4th year. Just celebrated 3 years after actually coming on Single on a Saturday Night as a guest with another Philly legend to promote and as old boss lady Yvette Money to promote a production we were doing. And I hadn't seen Shelly in a while. And amazingly, I was actually supposed to be one of the persons here in the beginning, because we talked about it at West Philly High in 2011, 2012 at a basketball game. And that's just going back from our Urban Expression times of me being a fan and then supporting the show, coming out to different events y'all would be at to actually guest hosting after y'all had a contest. And then ever since then, and all the showcases that I was in that y'all were a part of and things like that, and all the music business and just everything. And then, fast forward into where you been, man? You supposed to be here, and why you ain't call me? And you supposed to be here. All right, well, I'm here. and here we are, in November of 2017, I'm a guest, and in December of 2017, I'm one of the panelists. And what you did for me is like what Nikki said, you reintroduced me to other people, because I hadn't seen Nikki and Jay for a while. Danielle, I hadn't talked to her, seen her in a while. And and a few other people that we had in common that was there. I realizing that Chris was on the show, and Chris and I did a couple of productions together, Rest in Paradise to the King, and just have an opportunity to do what you knew I was already able to do. But how I was about the business. That's a conversation I've had about the entertainment business, because I came into the business owning my name, owning me, and owning my work, and we could talk about the rest. And if you couldn't respect that, I've left millions of dollars on the table, because it's just, if it's not right for me, it's just, I'm not doing it, and you gave me an opportunity to come and be a part of something that I was able to do what I do and give my input. And for the folks that were there, I didn't feel like I didn't feel energy of, you know, who this dude, man? Who is he? What degrees he got? What this, there was none of that. No, there was no negative energy. Everything was love, and again, with us going back so far, and then karaoke. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Karaoke and another way of ministering to people, just keeping it plain and simple. Another way of ministering to people, ministering through song. The Lord said, rejoice and be merry, and no, we might not be doing gospel, spirituals, or what have you, but guess what? There has been a few of us that have gotten up there and sang some gospel and spiritual songs and at karaoke. But the fact of the matter is, it's about bringing joy and happiness to people, feeding people, sitting down and breaking bread. So it's not all just business. It's not all just, okay, let's do this, and let's get out. So just to support. And I think my favorite show is honestly, it's probably like, it's really like 3 or 4. But one of the ones that stand out is the fashion show when we were getting ready to do the fashion show, and I always come, pretty dressed up, but I got to put on some royal attire. This was before Black Panther. So when I say that movie just hit me, hit to my core, because honestly, I really felt like we are more than a family. We are a kingdom of kings and queens, and we're doing everything in our power to expand and build our kingdom by giving folks exposure, giving folks information, giving folks opportunity, showing genuine love. No, I have not cared for every guest that came on the show. And I know Nikki wasn't talking about me about keeping my face. I mean, Tasty wasn't talking about my face, or Nikki and Tasty, whoever said it. I know they wasn't talking about me and my face, but I know I had to keep my TV face with a couple of people, because I'm like, yo, the cell phones, the head down, we on air, and all you see is this. And I'm like, yo, put your head up. Put your head up. Put your head up. But it's TV, and it works, and everybody is not adept at it yet, but some people are learning and some people have gotten better. But that's one of the ones that jumped out. And honestly, the first show that I came on as a panelist, because we had something, oh God, we had a hot subject, we had a hot topic. And it was like, well, Storm, what you think? For real? Okay, let's go. And just knowing that I was able to exist in that kind of energy. So, and getting to meet another brother such as Dave. I didn't get to meet Dr. Pulley, but when he came back to the show, that was when I realized you never really leave single on a Saturday night. You might move into other things, you might transition, but you actually never leave just because you're not on a panel regularly.
Amen. We're going to start. I want to, before we move on, and I thank everybody, my eyes started going because I remember the people we lost, and you can't go on without thinking about the people we lost. Like David's 2 brothers. Shout them out, David. Your 2 brothers, and it's crazy. It just hit me.
For Corey, my man Corey, that
Huggy Bears.
Huggy Bear, Corey, my brother Steve, yeah.
His 2 brothers, Christopher Armstrong, Terry Gilmore. Did I miss anybody?
And then we had the sister who came on for that show with the lupus.
Yep. So we lost some people who really were dear to us. So I definitely want to, make mention and pay homage, because during this time, as a family, we're going through it. David's going through it. We're right there with you. So, rest in peace to everyone who lost. Oh man, Smitty. Smitty, along the way, I don't want to get sad on you real quick, but Smitty lost his wife throughout the time. That was so difficult, but he kept coming. He never left. He never just came back. I'm sorry, Smitty, but don't mean to get sad on you, but it meant so much that I hope we couldn't do much, but we would try to be there for you as much as we could. I love your wife, you love your wife, and so rest in peace to the ones that we lost along the way. As a family, you feel it. You feel it. You feel the yes, Tamara lost her mom, Danielle lost her mom. Oh my gosh, we've experienced some loss along the way. But as a family, we hold each other up, and we were there for each other. Marnie lost her mom. Man, Marnie lost her mom. So we've experienced some loss. Yes, absolutely. So I just want to make sure we acknowledge the fact that there were some people that started with us that are no longer here, and we as a family we come together to celebrate you as well as be with you if you lose your loved ones or anything. So moving forward, I want LaShawn turns all the way up. She makes it so fun. Like it's not a party if LaShawn is not there.
Yes, her energy just lights up the room. She has a gift. She is more than just a dancer. She just makes me happy when I'm in her presence.
Absolutely. She makes you happy when she just, even when she came on just now, it's like, LaShawn is here. Yes, LaShawn is here. So I just want to thank you for always being there. Thank you for Antoinette. And I don't know who went. Antoinette brought somebody in. I can't remember who brought who in, but Antoinette was there first and brought LaShawn in, or LaShawn brought Antoinette. But either way, I know it was via oh, somebody is at my door. Hold on for 1 second. But I'm gonna go for that for 1 second, and then thank you, LaShawn. Thank you, Antoinette. I don't know if you're coming on, but Antoinette is a trooper. Like she troops.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were doing. So
Antoinette is a very humble superstar in her own right. She doesn't say a lot, but she's there. You can hear her when she's talking. She don't do a whole bunch, but she is there in her presence, man. My producer who introduced me to her officially after we met on Single on a Saturday night just told me that, he is a star. And then come to find out we only lived a few blocks from each other.
Thank you.
When Phil in the building. But yeah, and I just want to tell you, I appreciate you because ever since coming to the show, and I think like we usually do, we took some pictures and what have you, and Weezy was like, "Yo, you know who that is?" I was like, "No." I said, I'm like, "That's like, because he told me, Nettie." I said, "Antoinette, yeah." He was like, "Man, that's so and so cousin, that's so and so people, that's so and so around the way." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the people." I said, "Dog," I said, she's so cool and quiet." I said, "I can't say
Hold on 1 second.
all this at another time." But Antoinette, along with all the other queens on here, is such a beautiful person, because she is so laid back and does so much without making any kind of ripples, any kind of waves. I swear, and I love you for that. I love you for that.
Thank you.
A couple times on some things, and I really appreciate that because you really have a giving heart. Everybody in here, and I'm going to say that for our guest, Monica. Monica is a dope queen. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. I know the way I said that, but just from the time that I first met her, when we had no idea who each other was, to where we wind up working together into what she's doing now. Come on, man.
I can't wait to get
I missed my appearance on her show years back. I had a freaking emergency. I had a bomb threat at work, so I had to shoot back to work.
Well, the invitation is there. Shelly, I have someone on my other phone that wants to say something to you.
Okay, on your other phone? Sure.
Mm-hmm. Caller, you're live on Zoom with Shelly Shell, celebrating 9 years of single on a Saturday night. Let them know who you are.
Hi, my name is Tim Hampton, aka PDA Productions, and I want to say happy anniversary to Shelly, who is a phenomenal media person, a phenomenal person, period. And I just wish you more success in your endeavors.
Oh, Tim, thank you. You. I appreciate you. You are the one. You are the one. And you know how God puts people in your life that do something for you behind the scenes and they set you up for your whole life. He put me in a position to be able to do what I'm doing. Like, you put me in position at Fridays. If it wasn't for you, I would not be in position. I would not be working for Fridays. I would not, literally, you, Tim Hampton. I don't know how much I have ever told you how much I appreciated you, but man, y'all got me about to cry up in here. Thank you, Tim. Oh my God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, you, like, I don't get to tell you often, but you know, whenever we get ready to do something, about to make something happen, you always there. But you put me in position to, I mean, you put me in position. Can't nobody take credit for that. You put me in the position to be where I am, to have money right now. I wouldn't even have an income if it wasn't for you putting me in position. So, you know, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. Thank you. And God bless. And I hope to see you soon. We got to catch up, you know.
We do, right at the beginning of COVID. We were supposed to do a show together on March, what was that, March 18th or March 15th? What day? On March 15th or March 18th, we were supposed to do a show together. What is that?
He said, yeah, the same day they shut it down from COVID.
The same day that shut it down. We've been promoting, we were about to do our launch show together to introduce Tim Hampton, the businessman, to the world, and then COVID. Oh my God. So we're gonna do it again, Tim. Don't worry about that. We got it.
Yeah, we're gonna take care of business, but I do appreciate everybody. Thank you, Simply Monica, Heat 100 Radio, shout out for everything you've done with me as well. And like, this is your day, Shelly. Just enjoy and just be blessed. You know what I mean? Just be blessed and don't stop doing what you're doing. No matter the challenges, keep pushing.
She's crying, Tim. She's crying.
She's crying.
Let it out, girl. Let it out.
I'm trying to hold back. I'm trying to hold back. And it's, you know, it's more than just a show. It's like when you see that somebody can set you up. Like, people don't have to do that for you. Nobody, you know, they always talk about people in Philadelphia don't help each other, but I'm not going to ever say that. People in Philadelphia and beyond help us all. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'm definitely not one of those people. I don't know crabs in the barrel. I know only people that bring people up. I only know people that help people out. I only know the dopest people around. So thank y'all for being so dope.
Absolutely. Tim, thank you for taking a moment to tell Shelly congratulations. I'll let you get back to work. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and y'all be safe.
All right.
All right. That's Tim Hampton.
Shelly, you know it's not me if I don't surprise you, right?
I know, right? I'm like, wait a minute, who she got on that phone? But man, you got that one. That one was right there. That was there. Like, I can't tell you enough that, like, I would not be making money right now if it wasn't for Tim Hampton. So I also wanted to thank, before we get into, because one of the shows, we're gonna get into one of the shows that I believe is Simply Monica's favorite. I'm sorry, before I start laughing, one of the favorite shows, of course, Simply Monica has been on the show a few times, but I wanted to thank Lisa Gore. She was there in 2012 as well. Definitely, so that means 9 years, but she was married the whole time. She was just there talking single stuff. You was married the whole time.
I was, but don't thank me. It's all right, girl. I mean, you're welcome. Thank you for thanking me. But you know,
we
I
made
just
our
love
time.
relationships.
We talk, girl. She's
Yeah.
married the whole time. She one of the married ones that talk to us single folks. So thank you so much. Anybody else I missed? Lori kind of came through in the now. Lori, where you at? I saw your phone, but she's Galaxy S8. So Lori, thank you so much. Chris, thank you so much. Melisha, I don't know if she's coming on, but you know Melisha been here since day one, because you know that's my sister. Melisha, I don't know what you're doing. She don't like the camera. She don't like to be seen. But I gotta say, Melisha, literally, like, when I started the show, I was like, Melisha, I need you on the shop. So she stepped up day one, literally. She was right there. Even though she does not like TV, she don't like to talk, but she made sure she was there. And to everybody else, Danielle, she's out right now. I text her, but she definitely sends her love. Danielle Patterson, Susie Q was on the first one. Anybody else? if you're watching right now, thank you so much. But Monica Mason, aka Simply Monica, Heat 100 Radio. Yeah, she's in the building, and she's been here on the show twice. But her first show, it's her first show.
Why does this feel like a Maury Povich moment?
That first show, you know. Let me tell you about the first show. She done got her husband at the time, past tense, ex-husband, that's what you call him, right? Ex-husband, to admit on air that he was a cheater. How'd you do that, ma'am?
Wow. I think it was really the things that we were going through at that time, because I was new in my career. I was I was in college. I was working in a whole nother state. I was doing a lot of things that kept me away from home. But I was building for our house. You know, I was building for our household. That has always been the woman in me. I think that's like a gift and a curse with me when it came to my marriage. Like, I was the breadwinner, you know. I always wanted him just to be home with our son, you know, because he didn't have his father growing up, but I wanted our son to have his dad growing up. So when I found out that he cheated, it was like so devastating to me. Just took me through so much. And at that time, he was willing to do anything at that time to fix it. But the craziness, Shelly, is that from your show and him actually admitting it literally for the first time, and me actually believing a lot of it, because that opened up the door to me that at that point, it was no fixing. The marriage itself to me was over. And it was like, at that point, now I'm satisfied, because you made me look stupid by cheating on me, the one that was providing for you and our family. And not only that, I was also somebody in Philadelphia. And here you had this ragamuffin able to run around and say she was with my man. Like, she couldn't even, like, you know. So I was like, so now you admitted it. Now it's over. I have another surprise for you, Shelly.
She said, wait a minute. She ended on now.
Caller, can you state your name and who you are? Shelly Shell is live on Zoom. We're celebrating 9 years of single on a Saturday night.
Hey, how y'all doing? This is Philadelphia's own PD Crack. What's up?
PD Crack, what's going on, man? Now you know we go back. Oh, Lord.
What's good? What's up, Shell? You know you're my girl. How you doing?
I am good. How are you, PD?
I'm great. I'm blessed. I can't complain. Congratulations to you, man. You know, we all love and appreciate you since way back, man.
Way back. We go way, way back. Did you see Two
Roll? I'm talking about since I was in high school running home, catching the show, to when I was in jail, watching it in jail. We had love for you.
Man, thank you so much. Did you see Too Raw for the Streets just posted a video from us from 1990 something? Did you see it?
No, I didn't see that. They gotta add me in that. I missed that one.
Yes, Too Raw for the Streets took us all the way back to a in-store signing way back in the day. It was you walking in the store like, yo, it's PD Crack, and we did the word on the street with PD Crack. Oh my God! He just posted
in the very beginning, man. You've been there since the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, PD. Like, no, we go. That's crazy. The history is incredible, right?
Definitely. I just wanted to call, man, and let you know I love and appreciate you, and keep doing your thing. And if you need me for anything, man, just call me, and I'm with you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for always showing love. And I'm going to at you in that video because you got to see it. It's so, I mean, you.
Yeah,
I mean, this
I got to check that out. I probably was a little skinny then too, right?
You were. That
yes,
was young
you
crack.
were skinny. Yeah, you was like, but it was so cute. It was like, oh my God, it was so cute.
That's what's up, man. Well, enjoy your day, enjoy the show, and I'm around. I appreciate you reaching out for letting me know, Monica.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
All
taking your time,
thank
Petey.
you.
No problem.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
You know I gotta keep getting you, Shelly. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, she just bringing them back. Wait a minute. Look, she gonna have me. Look, my eyes gonna be in tears all day. Like, oh my God, what is going on here? Listen.
Well, you know, I wasn't able to celebrate your birthday with you this year, and you know I normally bring you into the studio and we go all out for you. So
I felt like it was like when it happened, I was like, dang, something missing. I'm supposed to be at my I was like, I'm supposed not that you're supposed to, but it felt like, oh my God, every year you bring me in, you feed me food. I mean, you treat me nice. Oh my God, we have so much fun every year. But I appreciate this. I didn't even expect it. Honestly, I was just like, yo, this is the 9th year. Yo, Monica gonna come on. We're gonna talk about her book. Yo, you
it's about you, babe. It's about you, Shelly. It's really about you. Like, you have been paving the way for so many females in this industry, and then just the men who look up to you in this industry and respect you and love you so much. And when I speak about you, I tell people all the time about your humble spirit and your humble heart. Like, so many times, like I said, you have been Shelly Shell for years. Like, again, like Petey said, I remember running home when cable was free to catch you on Urban Expressions, and then to finally be able to meet you and not just call you friend, but call you sister. And the thing that I love the most about you is that you love me for me. Genuinely, you took the time to get to know me. Forget what somebody else said. Forget what, might be on social media. You got to know me. So when you're around people and they say things that eye goes up and then, but the first thing you say is, but what did you do? Or, well, what did she do? You know what I mean? You never judge me. And I love you to life for that. Like, I appreciate you so much.
And I love you so much. Thank you so much for all that you do. I mean, really, really, that's why we want to make sure everybody goes and supports everything you do. Heat 100 Radio. Yo, Heat 100 Radio. That's what I'm talking about. So she stopped off with saying it was over. How she just gonna say? She gonna stop with saying, "Yeah, I found out you cheated and it's over." But it was probably over mentally before you even got there, right?
You know what? I think it really was. Because we talk about relationships all the time, and that's why I love Dr. David. That's on your that was on the show as well, because he did put a lot of insight out there when I did come on the show, and then watching some of the shows afterwards, the enlightenment. When people ask you, is there life after cheating? Most people will say no, but I say yeah, because it's really about the individual and where they are in their mindset, right? But in my situation, was there any fixing it? No, because I feel like too much had been done in the dark, and I was at that point in get back mode. I was really in get back mode. And
like,
I think it was
back
also
at him or get back.
Get back at him. She wasn't worth it. I mean, and he should have realized that she wasn't worth it. And this is sad, and please, y'all don't take this the wrong way, but 4 years later, she died.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, 4 years later.
That's God's call.
Absolutely.
Listen, that's God's call. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's something amazingly that I was talking. I love when I'm able to say this. I was talking to my father and my nephew. So it's 3 generations in this house, and we're talking, and we were talking about different things, but it came down to stuff like that. It's in God's hands.
Absolutely. That's what TC, when I got that phone call, when I got that phone call, because after finding out so much about that whole situation, the young lady actually was the best friend of a cousin of mine. And she knew this young lady had done so much research on me that she was, because she worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield, she was calling my house from work because that was actually our medical provider. So I never thought anything about it. When I would come home and see it on the call ID, I just thought it was our medical provider, calling with information or whatever. She had done, like I said, so much research on me. Her best friend was my cousin. And she used to say to my cousin, which was her best friend, that she was dating this married man and how happy she was with this married man, to the point where they kept asking her, well, when we gonna meet him? Like he wasn't real. So just from her doing that and me finding out all these things, it counteracted the things that he was saying when he was saying that it was nothing up, it was nothing with it. That's bullcrap, because if it was nothing, then this young woman would not have been going to her friends talking about how happy she was with somebody else's man.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? Where he tried to downplay it, that's not what it was. But like I said, when I got the phone call that she had passed away, I remember I was immediately sad. And the reason why I was sad is because that young lady was in another relationship. She was pregnant. God allowed her to have her baby, but then she had a heart attack on the table. So that young lady never got to hold her baby. At that point, all the anger that I had because I felt like she and my husband destroyed my marriage, it went away.
Subsided.
So I called my oldest daughter and I'm telling her, I'm like, when I called her, I said, well, how do I tell your dad what just happened? Because he never even knew that it was still, weighing on me or whatever. And at that point, the same thing TC just said, my daughter was like, well, Mom, it's really not, it wasn't up to you. And it's a good thing, you didn't do anything, to her back then or whatever. And all this it was already in the plan. Like our destiny is our destiny. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But the craziest part is when I got home that night and I went down to the man cave and I said, it's something I need to tell you. And he's looking at me like, what? And I said, so-and-so passed away. He looked at me and he said, and this is when I really knew that the nail was done. Because everybody knows that we cohabitated for a long time after we broke up. So just to be clear, people are like, well, why is he still around? Because as my son's father, he still lived in my house, but in a separate part of the house. So for our son, to raise our son. So anywho, when I got home and I said to him, I said, so-and-so passed away. He looked at me and he said, well, I don't know what the F you want me to do about it. I don't care. At that point, I was even more so hurt because how can you say that about a woman that at that time you was dealing with, that you had a relationship with, that you tried to tell me that at first the only time you was talking to her was to get advice on us, so she was a friend. And I'm telling you that she's gone and you're going to tell me what the F? You know what? I'm so glad that I was able to get myself together by actually having to it just was so much that I went through with that situation. But then I became the cheater. Yes, people, I became the cheater. Before he and I actually let everything go, I became the cheater. And in doing that, I don't know if it was me wanting somebody else to feel the pain that I felt all that time, but I let myself get so wrapped up in this man that I forgot who I was.
But and you didn't blame yourself. Did you? Let's stay there. Let's talk about when you become a cheater. I mean,
hey Shelly, can I say something? And Monica, can I address that?
Absolutely. Let me introduce you first. Simply Monica. This is Malik Truth. He's hailing all the way from Las Vegas. Las Vegas. Las Vegas, and he has a book as well. So go ahead, Malik. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, Sister Monica, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right, for all the other Muslims out there, assalamu alaikum. What we have to understand about relationships, and especially as it relates to our faith, one thing we have to always do when we're dealing in any relationship situation, and especially when it relates to marriage and divorce, is turn to the word of Allah. And we know that, and we will hope that we turn to that, because in Al-Baqarah, it says that and a divorced woman shall wait concerning themselves for 3 courses, and it is not lawful for them that they conceal what Allah has created in their womb. If they believe in Allah and the last day, and their husband have the greater right to take the back during the period, provided they desire reconciliation. That's what I like about the Quran as well as the Bible. It provides for divorce but it encourages that we try to stay together. But it's like you said earlier, Sister Monica, the mindset. Only a mindset can understand reconciliation. The proper mindset can only understand reconciliation. So that's what I like about how you were accountable with that. You was like, look, I wasn't even in that mindset. I was in get back mode. I was in a totally other mode. So even though reconciliation is possible, you're right. You have to have that mindset. But I encourage everyone, despite your faith, turn to your faith and turn to what the word says in your faith and try to align your mindset with what that is, just to save the marriage. If it, because every marriage is savable. It's the mindset of the two individuals that considers it.
Okay, so now Brother Malik, let me go back for you. So at that time, however, I was not practicing. I am now a new revert. This will be 1 year this Ramadan. I'm looking so forward to it. But I was struggling. That's what I was saying. I was struggling with so much of who I was, who I was in the spiritual realm, who I was in my faith. I was walking on eggshells with a whole lot of stuff. Like I said, at that point, when I became the cheater, I was so engulfed in another man, which belonged to someone else. He wasn't mine. But I wanted that. I wanted what someone else had. Like it's almost like I wanted her to feel what I was going through. Like the adrenaline rush in being with somebody else's man. I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is, you know what I mean? So again, where I couldn't almost identify with me. I was a very nasty and evil person during that relationship. And now I know why. Because everything I was doing at that time was malicious. Everything I was doing, because nothing was being blessed, because I was not living right. I wasn't living right.
I like that.
But wait, Monica, let me stop right there. When you say you was a nasty person, do you mean to the people around you? Do you mean
absolutely?
Yes. Hold on. Hold on. No. I would like to think, after all these years, I'm in a position that I can say this. When I first met Monica, she paid me no attention because I was working at the Merriam Theater doing something for a particular playwright who will remain nameless for this particular show. And I was like, man, so she fine. Let me have me. It was something. I'm gonna tell you, and we say it, men, we know it, ladies learn it. Everything that glitters is not gold, and everything that's beautiful on the outside is not right already on the inside. And first saying hello, just from the hello, I was like, oh hell no, I ain't that boy. Not gonna do it to myself. Time passed. We're in similar areas. She's doing what she's doing, getting a radio thing. And how long did it really take for you to get your footing? Because of what you was dealing with, what you said, how you were, you were nasty to people, that situation, the relationship you was in. And you know how your blessings only come when you're supposed to receive them. You wasn't being blessed in that moment like you felt you should have been, because again, as we got closer and once we started working on this one particular project together, I make it a habit of building with the people that I perform with. And Monica and I would be on the phone like every other day. And it would go from talking about the production to just talking. So we became friends. And when I would hear and she would dispense the stuff that she was going through, the person that I met at the Merriam Theater, this wasn't the same person, because now she was coming out of that place. Because when I say she was sharp as a Ginsu knife, dog, if her tongue was a razor blade, you chopped it to 1,000 pieces. And it wasn't always with her words, it was with her action, it was with her body language, with her response. And I saw this and I was like, damn, who? But me being me, who putting up with that?
Right.
I was horrible.
And Monica and Storm, I talk about a lot of that in my book. And Shelley, you done read through it already. What I talk about is how pain, hurt, and trauma has a very negative effect in us and how that pain, trauma, and hurt makes us become a certain person, but it doesn't really define us. What we have to do is learn how to take hold of all that pain and trauma, turn it around, heal, accept what happened, heal, and then become the person whom God created us to be. Because that pain and trauma will make us become somebody completely different. And I know that when you began to heal, Monica, and you began to reflect back on who the hurt and pain caused you to be, you was like probably disgusted yourself.
Listen, Malik, when I tell you, when I look back over, even to this day, and Shelly knows, it's a lot of relationships that I completely destroyed, again, that are unrepairable. And it's unrepairable because of this. When we give that tongue lashing to people, right? It makes us feel like we are greater than, like I'm that girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just got with her. I just checked her. We don't realize that even when we wake up after we did our soul search and we decided that we didn't want to be that person anymore, that tongue lashing is already out there. You already hurt that person. So that person may be able to say, you know what? I ain't worried about her no more. I ain't thinking about her, but they don't have to forgive you just because you, even if you said I'm sorry, they don't have to forgive you. But what I didn't like is I know the journey that I had to go on after everything. And I just did another interview the other day. And it was self-love after victimization. And here's the one thing about me. I do not claim to be the victim any longer. 4.5 years ago, yeah, I have still been telling you I was the victim. Today, I'm not the victim. I did a lot.
You're the overcomer.
As well.
You overcame.
Right.
Yeah,
I contributed a lot to a lot of the pain that I went through, you know, and even in the situation after my ex-husband, and I got into this relationship with this other man, which is what my book is about, his woman, his wife, my man. If I would have wrote this book when it first happened, it would have went a whole other way. There it is.
Right.
This book would have went a whole other way. You know, I would have wanted to hurt everybody. You know, it would have been stab, stab, stab.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to go that way. Listen, I came out with the play first. Let me tell you how good Allah is. If that play would have came out the first way that I wanted it written, it would have hurt people. It wasn't supposed to happen. Wasn't supposed to happen.
Supposed to heal people.
Had a second date for that play. Still didn't happen. Then here comes COVID. But guess what? I had all these people ticket money for this place. I said, wait a minute, pause, Mo. One thing we don't do is bad business. So I got to give my fans, my followers, my supporters, the people who love me, I got to give them something. So I said, okay, write about it. And also I knew I needed closure. Write about it. Put it in a book.
That's good.
Once you put it in a book, the same way when you get on your knees and you make prayer and you leave it there, that's the same thing I had to do when I put this book out. Put it in the book, put it out there, let it go. I knew that there was going to be some backlash to it. I was ready for that because, again, some people are still looking at me from 4.5 years ago because they don't know this Nima. They don't know her. You know why? Because their energy is not supposed to be in my circle, and it's not for them to understand. When I reverted back to Islam, they was like, "Oh, she got a man." No, pause. Mo's still single. I didn't do this for no man. You can't do anything for a man. I found that out the hard way. I did this for me. This mouth needed to be curved. The only way this mouth could be curved is I had to cover. Because one thing that I cherish and I respect is my chemo. And trust me, it was also to save a lot of people. Because as long as I had this chemo on and you run up on me, you probably all right. You safe. It's when the chemo come off. You better somebody better call 911.
Call 911.
But you know what?
I like that though.
You know what? I think
like
that people, you keep talking about the people see somebody 4 years ago. Even when I look at you 4 years ago, I know what everybody's saying. I never saw that. You know, I never, you know how God says God looks at the heart of man. You know, when you look at somebody's heart, you can see past all of it. You can see past because you're looking at the heart. I have always seen your heart, regardless of what's going on, regardless of where everybody would say you see the heart. So when you say you the new person, yes, you knew, but your heart was always gold. Your heart was always for people.
Yes,
your heart. So as our heart is breaking because of whatever we're going through, your heart is still there. Your heart is still good. It's just being mended. But I wanted to go back to cheating when people beat themselves up a lot about cheating. But I've been a cheater. You know, I've been a cheater before.
No.
I have been a cheater. Not cheater. I didn't cheat on anybody. I didn't cheat on anybody, but I feel like I can't blame the person, but when the man comes up to you and he talking that good stuff and he smell all good and he whining and dining you. No, seriously, when he whining and dining you, he making you feel real good. And you don't know, I didn't know particularly that he was married in the beginning, but isn't it like, I'm gonna ask Dr. Pulley, but isn't it like, it's almost like it betrays you, your heart betrays you, because you're like, he just said this, he made me feel good, it's like, so how can I be blamed for something that somebody just infiltrated my heart because he came in, made, because I feel like even with who you were dealing with and you're dealing with, but he came in, he didn't let you know he was married.
And that's just
he came in like a smooth operator.
And listen, and so let me fast forward and tell you how that actually happened. The industry that I'm in, and at that time my career was taking off. My career was taking off, and of course, when your career is going places, you need management. So he became my manager first. And what do? You tell your manager everything. You're with your manager all the time, right? So I disclosed a lot about what was going on in my household with my husband. I disclosed all these things. My manager at the time, he never wore a wedding ring. When we started being together all the time, we never hid anything. He never asked me to duck down when I'm in the car. He never asked me to, you sit over here in the corner when we're out. It was never like that. For the people who knew that he was in a situation, or knew that he was married, or knew that I was married, they never thought that we were a couple. But for the people who didn't know that, you could tell that we were a couple. So because I disclosed in the beginning all of my situations, right? It wasn't until he had already had me locked in, hook, line, and sinker, that he disclosed to me that he was married. And at that point, when he disclosed to me that he was married, I was already in it. So at that point, I could have said no, but I didn't want to say no, because now I looked at it like, well, obviously you don't care too much about her because you with me all the time. And even if you is, forget her. She can hurt like I hurt. That's where I was in my spirit at that time. I didn't care. I remember one night even someone had gave me flowers at a show, after I came from hosting the show. And he and I were out till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I remember giving him the flowers and saying, here, take them home to her so she's not arguing. Like, I used to do certain things just to keep him and her from arguing. Even like when we would go out of town, I'd be like, yo, did you make that phone call yet? Like, because I needed everything on the home front to be good so that we could continue to do what we was doing.
I like that.
But that's what I'm saying.
And then hold on. And that's
wait. I wanted David Pulley to hold on for 1 second. David Pulley, can you weigh in on the fact that when she said it, she said she didn't know, her heart was already in. That's what I'm talking about. Those moments. I understand temptation versus this, but can you speak to the fact that sometimes your heart is already in it? I know that we're supposed to make right choices, but what about when your heart is already there?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. It's harder to do anything once your heart is in, but that's why, obviously you want to try to make the best choices, and we've all been young and dumb, you know what I mean? And so, we make choices based on our desires, right? So, and that's the difference from maturity, not so much grown, because you got a lot of grown people who aren't mature, right? It's two completely different things, So when we say grown, we tend to be talking about just age-wise. Somebody could be grown. Physically, they could be grown, but spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, they could still be teenagers, right? And so if you're still a teenager in one or more of those three pillars, spiritually, mentally, or emotionally, then you're going to make immature decisions. And then it's going to be harder to get out of those decisions once you've done them. So when your heart's already in, when your heart's already connected to somebody, when you've already had sex with somebody, when you've already taken the drug, it's harder to back out of something that's intense that you probably should have never gotten into. You know what I mean? So yes, it is more challenging, but maturity and motivation, right? The motivation, experience, past failures, because we've all made poor choices at some point. But if we haven't learned from our lessons, then we don't know, you know what, I'm doing the same thing that I already know is bad. And even though it feels good, even though my heart's in this, or even though the XYZ, whatever the case may be, I got to get out of this. I got to switch up. I got to change. I got to adjust. I got to make some different choices. So, the choice piece is a huge part, because that makes everything different. And I'll throw something new in that I didn't even know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't. I talked about it more spiritually instead of scientifically, and now it's big. It's big for me to present the balance as much as possible. I tended to talk about spiritual psychology and spiritual genetics, but there's a scientific term for the exact same thing. It's called epigenetics, right? And based on our choices, we make certain choices in life that actually turn on or turn off DNA genes, right? So I got some hip hop for that one right there. So if we're
I need a shit.
so if we're making certain choices that will help us to turn off genes of sex addiction, love addiction, drug, alcoholism, whatever the case may be, those choices actually help to turn off those genes and gene expressions. So it is important to learn and grow in as many pillars and to mature, so that we can get ourselves out of bad situations, even if we're already in them.
I agree with you, brother. I agree with you, brother.
Now, what I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's better than free back. It's better than free back.
Hey, who's
2020?
Who's doing that?
Nigga! Gavin, mate, shut the hell up.
Somebody hacked in the joint.
Wow.
Somebody hacked in the joint.
Just boot him. Just boot him.
What if we can lie? You just got hacked, nigga. You just got hacked. Boy, what you gonna do, boy?
Guys, everyone leave.
Hey, that happened to a friend of mine's. They were doing
nigga.
They were doing a show and they hacked in. So you got to put whenever we do a Zoom like this, you got to set the security.
We can address that.
And not
boot them and lock it. Boot them and lock it.
Yeah, and you can't put the link online for everybody to log into, because they might hit it. So you just got to you send the link to people who you want to join in, and tell those people to send the link to the people who wants to join in. Other than that, if you leave it open, devils like this will join in.
We deal with the devils at the appropriate place and time, but
so
we going. But I wanted to say, and ask for Monica and for Shelly. Monica, you obviously knew the situation that you were dealing with, and you made a choice, as Dr. Pulley was saying. Shelly, were you aware of the situation that you were in, the way you were in to make those decisions, or were you misled into believing it was a certain thing? Because you know me, I'm big on communication, asking questions. I don't care how good you smell, how good you got certain questions and things you got to ask, certain stuff you got to know. Because while you out with him, if he's misleading you, then you get, possibility of being ran up on, caught in the middle of some shenanigans, or if it was something that you knew about to better kind of prepare yourself if there was a confrontation.
Well, I would say that I did not know. I mean, he was whining, dining. He was available. You know how we have the stereotype of what people do, like they're not available on holidays, they're not available. He defied all the stereotypes. He was there. He was available all night. There was no secret around. There wasn't no he called. He did everything that you would expect a man to do. He was available to me.
So that's a no you didn't. Maybe so that's a no you didn't ask because he was available.
Mm-hmm.
No, you didn't discuss it or have this conversation because he was available?
Maybe I don't remember having the
Okay.
conversation. I don't remember asking. Look, I don't
No,
remember
I get
saying,
it.
"Are you single?" I don't remember the conversation. Did I say, "Are you single?" I don't remember. I mean, I'm a person that asks questions, so I probably did, but I don't remember. But all I know is in my mind, I probably thought he was, because he came as a friend of somebody else. He was a friend of somebody from Urban Expressions. He was their friend.
Gotcha.
So why would they bring somebody to me? Why would they?
That hurts you.
Yeah. So I'm like, he's a friend of
Because
his.
Monica, because they didn't understand it. It's not their prerogative to understand the certain dating personalities and certain dating characteristics that's in this individual. We all have different facets to us. There's a business Malik Truth. There is a freak Malik Truth. There is a caring Malik Truth. There is so many facets to me and to all of us that one individual is not going to see, and that another individual they might hide that from. So remember, let's go back to the design dating purpose. What do I say about knowing yourself and understanding truly the dating process and how it relates to discovering someone? I talk about the discovery process, right? A lot of times we fail to adhere to the discovery process because there's something in that person that we want to fulfill, that our fantasy wants. Not that's real, but that our fantasy wants. And we are going to chase the fantasy and not the reality. That's where brother David comes in, where he talks about maturity. And the emotional side of maturity tells us that even though our emotions are telling us one thing, when we're emotionally mature, we are not going to let those emotions dictate how we make the decision.
Absolutely. So let me break in and say this real quick as well. So the reality side of it for me is, even after I found out that he was married, when I said it didn't matter to me, because even at that point, I received 2 rings in the interim of that relationship. That very first Christmas, he put a ring on my finger. Then 3 months later, for my birthday, he put another ring on my finger. We had bank accounts together. We had the business together. We did everything that a married couple would do other than live together. We did all of those things. Everybody knows a breakup is bitter, very bitter. And that's why I said, I'm glad that the book and the play did not come out when I was back then bitter and angry. I'm glad that the book came out now, because this book, the title of it is to capture you, to get you, and it's everything that it says. But inside this book is a healing process for both male and females. What I would love for people to understand and get from this book is, 1, anything that is done in malice is not going to be blessed. It is not going to be blessed. 2, whatever God you serve, he is not going to send you someone else's something. That's not going to happen. That's, as you said, that's the choice you make. He's not going to send you somebody else's. 3, own up to the part that you played in the shenanigans. You're not the victim if you knew about it and you, as an adult, you went into it. Own up to your ish. Gotta own up to your ish. And
own up to your shit.
4, if you don't love yourself, how can you ever say that you love someone else? You have to love yourself. And that's what I did throughout this book, and the journey with this book is I learned to love myself. And Shelly, I do want to read just a real quick. This is just a snippet from the book. And again, I put these little snippets after a couple of the chapters just to bring women and men back down to reality. So here's the first one. This is in the beginning of the book. I know that some broken women love the attention they get from being broken. But God, that ain't me. I just want to be whole again. I just want to be loved, truly loved, by a man who caresses the broken pieces of me, the pieces that I've already mended back together. A man who loves me for the new work of art that I am. Can you hear me, God? Just one good man who truly understands every aspect of how to love me for who I am. Can you hear me, God? And when I say that, those words to me define a relationship for me. The next man that comes into my life that is going to be able to be with me has to truly understand me. Because I'm in the forefront all the time, you have to understand that about me. I'm not giving up my career. And this is why I've also decided that if I'm going to be single for the rest of my life, I'm cool with that. I got 4 beautiful grandkids that can just continue to love upon me. But
come on,
I'm cool with that, you know.
But you know that when you say that, a lot of times those are justifications, because we all have certain needs that we want fulfilled, and I think the greater part in fulfilling those needs and wants of ours is to first be honest with ourselves, know who we are, know what we want, know what type of energy to produce and raise up within ourselves, so that once we become connected with that energy that we have will not allow any type of adverse energy to come in, because it will dispel it. And that's a great part about that type of energy. And if we have to practice it, though. We have to continue to practice it. We have to continue to be cognizant when we're involved with somebody. You mind if I read a part from my book? Just a small part. Okay, I say when we get involved in the dating process, sometimes our motivations may not always be wholesome or mutual. Often, to diffuse or minimize the guilt that comes with this type of dishonesty, we will create a delusion of honesty and involve ourselves so deeply in this delusion that we begin to live that lie without concern of the collateral damage that we cause the other person. And that's the thing about fantasies. The thing about fantasies that they are so powerful. And if we don't check ourselves to understand why we're engaging in this dating process with this particular individual, hurt, pain, trauma is going to lead the way. But if we know and understand ourselves, the God in us will lead the way, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. But when we operate in flesh, we put down that God in us. We say, God, I don't want you to operate right now. I'm going to do this. And then we begin to lean to our own understanding.
But we can't always, I mean, that's the thing. That's what Storm was saying. There are some times, there are some times where your flesh will speak so much louder than it's supposed to. And it's not like
where Tasty at? No, Tasty told us about Bob. We got Bob for that.
We got Bob for that now, but we've all know that at some point we have messed up when the flesh started calling, we answered the call, but now, you know, of course we try to do better, but we know that sometimes the flesh takes over. Casey said, "Oh, she put her thumb up." But
what do I call that, Shirley? I call that noise in our life, right? In the book, I call that's noise. That's everything that blocks what should be coming out.
Right.
Go ahead, Storm. What was you gonna say?
Because I was gonna say, and even in that understanding, even in that operation of your needs and your wants, like the king was saying, that's still your fleshly desire. You lose your righteousness when you decide to go to Bob, even though it's just you and Bob, you by yourself. You losing your righteousness because you have a particular need. Remember, what we say is we always have to go back. We have to go back to our word. We have to go back to that, because those fleshly desires, if you live in righteous, yes, you might have them, but your fallback is to go back to your spiritual foundation.
Yeah.
See, our flesh allows us to believe, oh, because it's not with a man, that it's okay. No, or it's not with a woman, and you just go saying it for a man. If it's not with a man and not with a woman, it's okay because we didn't copulate with the opposite. No, you didn't go back to your spiritual foundation.
So what you're saying to me is, look, I had to study. So what you're saying
we got to break up with Bob.
It's still a choice. No, because I don't want to be a hypocrite either. I can't. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in, but all I can do is tell you what it is that we all have learned, and iron sharpens iron. So
that's why I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You're saying that Bob is still a sin. You saying that
Bob is not righteous behavior.
Shelly and Monica, Bob is you. Bob is you. You have to break up with your old self in order.
I know. I'm just playing. I don't have a Bob.
She just giving.
I don't have a Bob either.
They just hassling me right now. It's
I know they're messing with
his
you.
name is not gonna be Bob, but I don't have a Bob.
But I know you got
Bob.
But it's okay because Bob might make you say God, but he can't take you to God. He can't walk you to God. He can't.
Oh, come on, Eddie. Come on, Eddie. Come on, Eddie.
So,
Come on, Eddie.
wait a minute. I got a question.
Come on, Eddie.
Hold on. I got a question.
Your question, who is Bob?
No, I know exactly who Bob is.
Yeah, he did. You paused for a long
Bob,
time.
Bob is the random black guy.
Nah, I'm trying to.
No, he
Bob
know who Bob is. He know who Bob is.
No, I'm
and him come in all colors.
I'm trying to figure out how am I going to word this.
All right, well, you got worded. Go ahead. Hurry up. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. Colors, shapes, sizes. Go on.
No. That's not what I'm going to ask. I need to ask. So, since what was just said about it being, pretty much, and if I'm hearing wrong, let me know that I'm hearing that it's a sin, basically.
That's what he was saying. That's what I was trying to understand.
Does that go for males as well?
Yep.
Tell about
Yes.
it.
I said whether it's male or females, whether it's a man doing it with a woman doing it with a man. Just because you're doing it and it's not with the other one doesn't make it any less righteous.
No, that's not what I'm asking you.
Scripture reference.
Okay.
Scripture reference.
Is pleasing yourself a sin? Is basically what he's asking.
Scripture reference about Bob, please. Scripture reference. If you go.
Wow.
Scripture reference. Give us scripture reference about masturbation.
See,
Wow.
the point that I'm trying to make is that, and I'm going to go somewhere dangerous, but oh well. I've noticed a lot of Christian men are very hypocritical, and the hypocrisy is huge. So they'll sit there and preach all that to you, but you sitting somewhere bopping your baloney while you sitting there telling her that.
Now let me ask, what part of the conversation did you not hear me say?
He said, "Popping your baloney." I like that.
I said, I'm not going to tell you what to do or not to do because I don't want to be a hypocrite.
I didn't say you. Hold on, Storm. I didn't say Storm.
You're talking about Christian men. Christian men ain't here right now. It's the men that's here on the panel. If we're going to talk about it straight. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all your righteousness, and all the good things will be added to your life. A man that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor in his life. See, again, I think we misconfusing a conversation for if I'm preaching something. And what I'm saying is, if you are not in that sense of how we were talking in general, living a righteous life, even Bob being unrighteous is unrighteous. Period. That's all I'm saying. That was
and Storm, let me say something.
I asked the general question as well, brother. So
I made it clear. I'm not going to be.
And I made it clear it was a general question, brother.
What to or not to do. I'm just saying, if we're talking about it and we're talking about it in that sense, the righteousness doesn't end because you're not doing it with another human being. It's about your spirit and your flesh. We talked about the flesh. The flesh is weak, but that's where you're supposed to lean back on your righteousness and your spirit foundation.
Well, again, I mean, I understand the scriptures when it comes to that. As far as that, but Bob was originally Bob was a joke, but
that was hilarious.
I don't care. It was originally a joke. Bob was I don't even know why his name was Bob, but
Bob was a figurative member of the conversation. That's all.
we don't know Bob. Bob ain't here. Bob is gone. But in our general flesh in life, whether it's a man that has a Susie or I don't know if men have Susies, but if men have a Susie and women have a Bob, then all it is if you want it, if it's about honoring God, it's a different thing. If it's about honoring Allah, it's a different thing. But the point is, when you are in these situations, when you meet a man who is floating your boat to the top of the mountain, that's the moment that we have to say, all right, is it right?
And it's
wrong?
And it's not easy.
It's not easy. Exactly.
It ain't easy.
It's not an easy decision because of who we are and who we are allowed to be. We are allowed to make choices. We're allowed to make mistakes. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. 20-second time out.
20 seconds.
So, Shelly.
Yeah.
If you date this dude, you mean you actually, let's say that you're following this philosophy, right? And you know, no snatch handling whatsoever unless you taking a tinkle. All right. So let's just say that you meet a guy or whatever, right? And y'all kicking it or whatever, and you start asking these important questions. Please tell me you're not going to ask that man how much time he is alone with himself.
You can if it comes up in discussion. That's a safe.
How does that come up? Wait a minute.
Let me tell you something.
When you talk about sex,
when you're talking about right, if you're talking about sex and you're talking about in the point of I'm a person, I know. I mean, I'm not Dr. David Pulley, but you know, he was really living that life and he was proclaiming it. I secretly proclaim it. I haven't had sex. When I'm in relationships with men, I honor my temple because it's the temple of the Lord. But do I have those conversations? Because I learned something a long time ago. That was since Nikki Fuzz, I learned something a long time ago. I want to talk about it. So I want to know what kind of habits you have. I want to know your sexual appetite. So yes, I'm going to ask, and I have asked last week, the week before, how often do you touch yourself? How often do you feel the need? Listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I'm single, you married. As a single person who is celibate, who's not having sex, who's in a relationship, I will say to that person, I want to know how often, because I want to know, are you doing it to my face or are you doing it to her face? Are you doing it to this face? I want the details. I want to know how deep is your love? I want to know how deep this love goes. I
gotta come back.
So wait a minute.
I can't breathe.
So at what point are y'all sitting there talking about at the grilled salmon table and you start talking about how much he beating up? Are you? Wait a minute. How does this?
I'm with you on that one. There are some conversations that are too much information.
Right.
Too much information. I'm sorry.
Listen. That's about. I'm sorry I brought Bob up, but that's about as bad as we're dating, and you're going to ask me how many partners have I been with? Guess what? 2, because I have 2 daughters. You don't need to know all that. You know,
that's like asking somebody.
Some hooker or some porn star, then you might need to at least know that. But you don't need some things you don't need to know, because at the end of the day, are you really open to what that answer is going to be?
I'm open to the answer because this is the reason why you asked it. I'm going back to Stormy.
I want to know how.
Wait a minute. Hey, I mean, Disco.
Tasty, I have to say with Shelly on this one, and I'm gonna tell you why. That I feel as though, again, I'm single. I'm not in a relationship. I haven't been seeing anybody where this question would come up, but it's definitely a question that should I get in another relationship that I want to ask, because I am practicing celibacy right now. Now, I do not have a Bob, because one thing about me, because I pray so much, I've taken that sexual desire away from me. It's not even a desire of mine anymore. So I'm okay in that department. But what I will ask to the next man that I'm dating, yes, do you please yourself? Yes. Do you watch porno? You know why? Because I don't want to come home and walk into that. Or I don't want to come over to your house and go in your bathroom and you got porn in it. And like Shirley said, yes, I need to know if you are masturbating, because it is healthy for a man to masturbate. It's healthy for him to do that. But if you are masturbating, what you masturbating to? Did you go on my social media and grab my pictures, or did you grab Shelly pictures? Which one of us is making you and Palmetto happy? I need to know that, because if you want to do it to my picture, let me pick some good ones out to give you.
Let me hook you up with some.
But wait a minute.
Hey, Monica, we can agree to disagree, but sis, I'm gonna give you that one. That was funny.
So
I'm gonna go with you right there. Let me pick out some good pictures. If you're doing this to one of these, what I look like right now, no, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Tasty.
You know what it is?
I'm trying to understand.
Let me help you another way to understand. From a biblical perspective, if a man, the whole point is, if being now equally yoked. I'm just gonna go back to this one that we talked about this yesterday. Being equally yoked. If I say I am honoring the Lord and I'm not having sex, and I'm saying, are you walking? Are we two agree? So we two have to agree. So if I'm over here agreeing to not be sexual, and you're over there saying, yeah, I'm not going to touch you, but I'm gonna touch this book. I'm gonna touch this. I'm gonna touch myself. I'm gonna touch this. Then that means you're still operating in the spirit of lust. And when you operate in the spirit of lust, that is transferable to another person.
I
You
get
gotta
that.
understand
No.
bad
I get
company.
that. I get that.
Listen,
That's not what I'm
listen to what
asking.
I'm saying. Bad
That's not what
company
I'm asking.
corrupts good. What are you
That's not
asking?
what I'm asking.
What are you asking? But let me finish that statement. Let me just finish this for just biblical. I gotta finish the statement. Bad company corrupts good. So if you're with a man, if you're walking with a man, whether it's a woman, man, whoever you're walking with, no matter what it is, if you're walking with somebody who is not equally with you on your same path, and they're constantly lusting, they're constantly thinking sex, and you like, I just want to honor the Lord Jesus Christ. I just want to honor Allah. I just want to honor whoever I'm walking with. I just want to honor this person. That means our spirits are combating each other every single moment, because you think about my titties, and I'm thinking about Jesus. You know, that's what I'm talking about.
But that's not what I'm asking. I want to know
What the heck
how
are you
do
asking? You about to make me cuss.
how do you ask
when
a
do you bring it up?
question?
No,
How you sit at dinner, the steak was good. Yo, do you beat up? How do you ask that somebody something like that? That's like asking what kind of toilet paper do they use?
Let me answer that one.
Here you go.
I'll
Here
answer
you
that one
go.
for you. When you are on a date, right? And again, we are having general conversation. So if he and I are having general conversation, and like Tamara has said, Tacey said, is don't ask me how many partners I had, because I'm liable to tell you a fib. Yeah, I got 3 kids. I had 3 partners. You know, but that's liable to not be.
But then I'm a virgin then?
Right.
No, Shelly, you ain't a virgin. You have every right to ask that question, because you do want to know how many partners a person really did have.
Know.
And
No,
it's good
because
for
y'all
that
women
person,
gonna
and that
lie.
person
Don't
want to
count
know
you
that
guys
person
as
can
some
ask.
boyfriend.
So this is what happens when you ask a man. Normally, I'm just saying normally for some men, when you ask a man that you're dating, well, when was the last time you were intimate with the female? Because again, we want to know these things. Because if it's we're on a date, but you were just intimate with somebody yesterday, here's the thing. I may not want to hear that you was with somebody yesterday, but I have to accept that. You know why? Because you and I are just on a date. I never said that you were my man. You never said that I was your woman. So if you said to me, you slept with someone yesterday, I have to accept that. But then if you say, but I choose not to do that because I want to pursue you, sister. So then you're going to say to him, well, right now, I'm not looking for a sexual partner. I want to get to know you. So are you okay with us not engaging in sex? And if you're looking to be with me, I'm going to have to ask you to refrain from your sexual activity outside of this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you
Come
can
on,
bring
girl.
into that conversation. And
Come
a lot
on,
of times,
sister.
but a lot of times, you know what though? A lot of times people are not honest, and that's when the cheating comes into play. People are not honest that they can handle or they can't handle the monogamy part of it. But if you're in a relationship, sex should not, that's how I got caught up. Sex should not be the number one factor here. And especially at our ages, well, I'm going on 49. At my age, sex is not what's on my mind. Building a foundation, building businesses, because of everything we just went through with COVID, we weren't prepared, right? But if anything, you better be prepared right now is to have your own and be able to get your own. So that's where my mindset is now. So the next man, listen, come in with all the tools because we working, bro. That's what we doing. We working. Now we tired when we get home and we married, then we'll engage. But other than that, I'm not thinking about no sex. So if sex is on your mind, then I'm gonna have to ask you go that way. And let me keep
That's
on
all
this.
right.
And just
Right, and at 52, that's like I'm married in 52,
And
but
I'm
my
a person now who said I want to know how you ask somebody about if they're doing that. Okay, so there's a time and a place for everything. I wouldn't ask anybody that on the first date, right? So let's
No,
say
that's
we
all right.
probably like the 50th or whatever, we meshing and we talking and this and that and the third. So what are your thoughts on masturbation? Like that. And then that
Wow.
There you go. That's a good way.
It's different strokes for different folks. And one thing for sure, two things for certain. If you don't want the answer, don't ask the question.
Yep.
That's number one. And I saw in the chat that it was like King D Train said there's two things that I don't ask: how many partners and was I the best? Now I'm gonna go into a whole nother category of storm. I don't care because you with me now. So if we got to that point where we're having sex, I don't care who you was with before. I don't care how many it was because they not me. And unless he dead, I'm uno nuno. So even if you had somebody better, you ain't with him, you here with me. Do you play with yourself? Yeah, all right, cool. Go ahead. You know, if you feel like making a little video and I'm feeling like I can't get to you, and I feel like I can't get to you, and I need a little motivational, you know what I mean? Okay, so be it. If not, so be it. But sex is such a part of a conversation when I'm getting to know you that until I find out if I even like you to be attracted to you to take it there, then sex comes up in a conversation that is so unexpected that it's because it's not. I'm where Monica is. I'm too old for that to be all that's on my mind. I'm trying to build this kingdom with other kings and other queens that we trying to have our own financial structure, political power, and be able to rule and take care of ourselves because we already see what's going on out here for us. If you don't want the answer, don't ask the question. If you and me, because we are a bunch of people that talk and engage people, everybody sitting here at some point, one way or another, if it's a point of reference that you want, will know how to introduce it in whatever way is conducive for you. This is not a one-size-fit-all conversation, because like King Malik said, there's freak storm, there's an intellectual storm, there's enforcer storm, and there's storm that you just go ahead and let him sit by himself because he's brooding over something. You know what I'm saying? It's different strokes, folks have their own way of doing things. Like we have all these.
You didn't want to say different strokes for different folks. It sounded like different strokes for different folks. You didn't want to go there. I know that's right. He said he didn't want to go there.
That's true. That's true. Hey, look, because I stroke mine differently from somebody else. You know,
the most celibate one decided to say something about it. Pause.
I know, huh?
But that being the case, we all of us here are entertainers. All of us here are performers, but all of us here have our own thing that we do individually, and then we have our thing that we do collectively. And it doesn't diminish what any of us do individually, because when we come together, it makes all of us stronger. Right. And what we try to do is take this energy and for people to see it, that you got this actor, oh, that's Shelly Shell, oh, that's Monica Mason, that's Latrice Bailey, that's Malik Truth, that's the Kid Disco. Damn, they all on the same platform together. Then when you see us in our own places individually, when Models Talk, Stormy Weathers Entertainment, and Urban Expressions, Grown Folks Radio, then you see those things for what they are, and they're no less powerful. You know what I mean? So it's all about what your approach is. But if you have no approach to it, that's cool too. Just like in the lifestyle, everybody ain't freaky, nasty, gotta touch, gotta get sex in a lifestyle situation. There are voyeurs. There are people that are voyeurs. They just sit and watch. They turned on by it, then they go back home to whoever they go home to or with themselves and make it happen, Captain. Mount Vesuvius, let's go.
Absolutely. I just want Disco. I feel like you're still a little confused. And I'm gonna say this. I'm not a Bible scholar, but I'm gonna say this. If you're confused about whether masturbation is a sin or not, I suggest
that's not my confusion.
Okay, what's
how to ask a person about it if they do it or not.
Can I say this?
Wait a minute. Go ahead, Catrice. Go ahead,
Catrice. Is that my girl Catrice the model? Go ahead. What's up, miss?
Hey, if first of all, if a person's having a conversation about that, or even thinking about having a conversation about sex, that means they're thinking about eventually having sex with that person. So if we're going to be talking about that, of course I need to know what your appetite is, just like you need to know my appetite. My appetite might be a lot stronger than yours. So you need to know there's a standard.
That's
what
right.
I want per week and how many times,
That's right.
So it just depends. Because I know people, even when y'all talking about being celibate, that's not something I can do. It's fine. That's y'all thing. But even when it comes to that, I've talked to people where it's like they've been celibate for so long, and then when they finally got with the person, realizing that person's actual appetite, that's kind of intimidating for them. So these are conversations that you actually need to have early on, and it doesn't have to be the first date. It doesn't have to be, because we're not even on that level. Just like what Stormy said, I might not even like you like that to even get to that point where I'm going to actually be like, okay, we're eventually going to be intimate. Now there are some people that, you know, that's something
sexually intimate.
Yeah,
because if we use general term intimate, then you know. But yeah, I feel where you're coming from. Here's what I like. Here's what I like about people is that we're so dynamic and in so many ways. But you know, this is where we need the sex therapist on here. What was that sister's name?
Zemi Moore.
Zemi, I would love for Zemi to jump in on this one. But what I like about just that whole topic of sex, again, Shelly, I talk about that, right? I talk about that. I talk about sex. I talk about our needs, wants. I even talk about STDs. You know, what's the safe thing to talk about STDs? Wouldn't you want to know if, you know, your partner's sexual, appetite in the past or what they're doing now? What's their status and stuff like that? There is a time and a place for the different conversations, and trust me, they will come up. You just have to look for the opportunities when they actually do come up and begin to engage appropriately, accurately, relatively, and so on and so forth. But every conversation that you have to get to know somebody is a beautiful thing, man, because you got to get to understand them.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, do you understand now? Go ahead.
No. Everybody keeps telling me why. I already know the why. I know the why. I know the where. I get all of that. I get the script. I get that. Nobody's answering I want to know how.
How what?
Are you still on that question, bro?
How?
Because ain't nobody answered it yet.
Because the how
bring
is
it
based
up
on
casually,
your
like, what are
circumstances
your
and people
thoughts on
involved.
masturbation? And then that opens it up.
I mean, look, Lisa,
So
you
you
could
see,
be that.
a smart ass like me, I'm going to respond. Is that an invitation?
Therein could be lying part of the equation. You're a DJ. You're a DJ. You're a mixologist, right? You scratch and cut as well, right? Oh no.
Yeah.
Listen, you scratch and cut as well on the radio, right? On with the music, right? You don't just put it on play and keep it going, right?
Nah.
Somebody come up and tell you or ask you, yo, how you DJ? It's more to it than that, right?
There's a lot more to it than that.
Exactly. It's a lot more to the conversation than saying, oh, just say this, or this is how. It depends on who you're talking to. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on where you are. Is that a conversation that you sit and have at the table with people's parents sitting at the table with y'all? Probably not. Is it something that you're having over dinner and it's just y'all and you're in an intimate, as in quiet location to have a conversation, just y'all two? Probably. Do you plan on having sex and this is necessary for the conversation? Probably. If it's somebody you just messing around with, you don't really like them like that, but you just ask them to be nosy? Probably not. But it depends. Like I said, it's not a one size fit all situation. It's about the people involved, yourself. You said you being the smart ass that you are. Okay. So when you would be comfortable to even ask something like that, even if you was being a smart ass, would be
if you gonna ask
for you.
All bets off.
Listen, Disco. You married. You've been married for a while. You've been married for 6 years.
Why you keep using that like?
No, I'm gonna say because as a married person, listen, Disco, you've been married for 6 years. So somebody who is single, I'm single. I've been single in a relationship.
Different perspective.
We have a different perspective. So the reason I'm asking is for so many different reasons. And I'm not gonna just come out in the beginning of a relationship. When I ask somebody, it's normally we've been together for a while. You done already said you love me, and when you use the word I love you, then it's like all bets are off. Now I'm gonna ask you everything. Now I'm gonna get into all of your business. You said love. Oh, all right. Since you love me, I'm gonna let you know I'm an interviewer by nature. So if I interview people by nature, don't you think I'm gonna interview the man I'm with? Yes. I'm gonna be like, what do you do? How do you do it? So who do you do it with? I'm gonna ask every question because I'm an interviewer by nature, and I want to know what's going. If you haven't said what's your superpower or what's the superpower you want Sometimes I want my superpower to know what's inside of your head. I need to know what's in your head. I need to know what you're thinking. I need to know what you're feeling. So if I can ask these questions, I want to know how often,
Yes.
why.
Ask the questions at the appropriate times. And let me tell you, conversation is a skill. I mean, everybody don't really know how to engage intellectually. Okay, so why do I say that? Is that whenever you deal in a conversation in a quid pro quo manner, it's very easy for someone to give up information when you shared it first. Let's just say people are sensitive about their finances, right? And you say something to the effect of, oh man, I remember when my credit was so bad. Oh my God, I went through this and I went through that, but oh my God, when I straightened it out, I felt so bad. Now, maybe they were afraid to talk about that, but because you expressed it, they might say, you know what, man, right now my credit is bad and I'm working on mine right now. So what I'm saying, why I say that is that when you take a conversation like that or the discovery process from a quid pro quo, standpoint, it's easier for them to give up what you done already gave up. Now, do they all do it? No, but is it easier? Yes. To give up.
So since you're asking this question for that reason, is there ladies, is there a cutoff point? Like, all right, if you do it 5, you good, but if you do it 7 times, is there a cutoff?
Oh,
wow. It's not a cutoff. Let me tell you what I'm thinking when I'm asking. If I see that someone is handling their business, if you're saying 17 times, if they saying I do it 17 times a day, that is a red
flag. That's a lot.
That's weird.
That is a red flag. And I mean,
right.
I'm just giving extremes. So yeah, I do think about those things in a matter of how much. If somebody says I got to do it every day, then I'm looking at I got to do it 3 times a day or 17 times. I'm looking at the amount of time that your mind is lusted after sex after you tell me. After you have told me that you are a child of God or Allah, after you have told me that you are walking according to my God, then I'm saying, yo, you are not leaning to the Holy Spirit. I'm thinking all of those things. I'm thinking, we not equally yoked. You is still walking in your flesh a little too much for my taste.
Right.
Especially
Amen, Shelly. Amen.
I still can't get past 17 times though. All
right, so that's the extreme.
But air after the 5th time.
So that's the extreme. So all right, so what if you ask somebody and you say like, I don't know, 3 times a week? Is that what's
it's acceptable to whoever. We all different. Me, Monica, Catrice, and Angel. We all different people. We different. What I accept is not what she does. Just like Catrice said, I ain't down with y'all with that celibacy thing. Exactly. God bless you. I love the Lord, but I'm not down with that. So we all are different.
Exactly.
So our acceptance is going to be different. What we're looking for is going to be different. I'm talking from an individual standpoint.
Okay, well, let's individually put you on the mic. What's the cutoff?
I ain't going on no individual. I'm not going to tell you, but I will have a problem. I'm pretty sure I'm having a problem if you doing 3 times a day, and that means I really believe you're not walking where I'm walking. We're not walking like I talking, walking like I talking, walking. We're not walking like I'm talking. We're not walking like that. But I want to make sure.
If you masturbate at all, that's a deal breaker for me. It's a deal breaker for me. It's a deal breaker for me.
See,
wow.
It's
a deal breaker for me.
Wait a minute. Let me hear you say this. Let me hear you, because then I want you to go. I need you to talk about
into the why. Yeah.
So
it's a deal breaker for me because again, it's the lust part of it. If you have to please yourself, that means that yes, sexually, that's what's on your mind. Like you have to release, which means that no, you don't have the strength to even be faithful to me. I mean, granted, you saying you doing it to yourself, it's the same thing. You still have that urge to release. So it's the masturbation period for me. Like in the beginning, we were joking. The whole Bob situation was a joke. I don't have a Bob, never had a Bob. I don't care to have a Bob.
Monica won it all. Monica won it all. Monica won it all. It's all
the way I'm walking.
But that's what I'm talking about
right now. And I'm gonna tell you something, Catrice. It's not the celibacy part. It's not easy. Not when you're coming from a life where you were used to having sex all the time. So to make that choice to not be sexually active, trust me, It was not easy. But the more that I got in touch with myself spiritually and understanding that that's the added bonus to a relationship, because it is a part of a relationship, that intimate connection, that's the bonding, that's the glue now to it. That's what we do behind closed doors, but it should not be the number one driving force in the relationship. Now, if it's for you and you're not in a relationship, but you just, you're sexually exploring, by all means, boo, trust me, I'm not here judging nobody, because I used to be that girl. That's just not where I'm at anymore. And again, anybody else listen.
Listen, wait, everybody, do me a favor. For editing purposes, and this is for Smitty's purposes.
So we got closed out.
Simply Monica, I need you to do a so he can put this in the beginning of the show. I need him to drop this. I need you to do a, hey, I'm Simply Monica. I need you to do a promo for the book, because we're after 4. I know I want to acknowledge everybody's time, so I need you to do that before we go.
Can everybody mute?
We doing that right now?
Yeah, and then we can go into talking again. I just need to make sure that.
All right, because I need to ask a question before I roll out, so I'm gonna mute real quick.
All right. So everybody, please, I am your girl, Simply Monica, the owner of Heat100Radio.com. Now I am a published author. You guys see it right behind me. His woman, his wife, my man. Please go get that book, because of you guys out there that already have it. You made it #1 on Amazon. So guess what? For all my Kindle Unlimited users, it's a free download for you. All you have to do is go to Kindle, his woman, his wife, my man, download that thing for free. If you're on Amazon, you can go and get it. It's at his woman, period, his wife, period, my man, period, and grab the book. Or you can follow me on all social media platforms, inbox me, and you can actually cash at me. I will send you a signed copy of my book, His Woman, His Wife, My Man. It's a wonderful book. Please go get it. Easter's coming up. Mother's Day is coming up. It makes a great gift for anybody, but just don't go borrow it from somebody that already got it. Go get it yourself, because again, this is Black History Month. Support Black businesses, support Black authors, support Black people, period. So go grab my book. You're going to love it. Trust me, you'll love it.
Yes, you're going to love it. So what do you say to someone wrote underneath of a post that I posted of the book, of the article I wrote on you. They said, I'm not reading that trash because she messed up somebody's life. What do you say to somebody that has a negative reaction to you, your book, the subject? What do you say?
I say thank you, because everybody is everybody is entitled to their opinion, like everybody's entitled to a.
Yeah.
And honestly, what they're doing is they're blocking the experience, because again, the title is what the title is, and I can't change somebody's feelings or whatever. And yeah, I did mess up somebody's life the same way my life was messed up too. But again, I'm not the victim. I'm not claiming to be the victim. And yeah, it was some innocent people that were involved. But it takes you getting through that and past that for the healing. So again, to that person, they want to keep someone in their ish. That's just not where I'm at. But I appreciate them, and I appreciate all the people that have purchased it to make it go #1.
Can I say this real quick?
Not even that. Let me finish that. So not even that. When it comes down to the marriage of the person in the book, or the person you were talking about, their marriage is still going on, right?
Their marriage is still going and strong to this day. Their marriage is still going on strong to this day. He is doing well, and again, regardless of what went on between he and I, when he was my management, he was awesome in my career. A lot of things that I have today is because of him. So what I can say and what I will say is that everything was not in vain through what happened in our ordeal. What people don't know is that he and I, we still sometimes to this day, we have had conversations. Sometimes he'll call and say, yo, I see what you're doing. I'm proud of you, and vice versa. So that's what people need to understand as well. 4.5 years later, I'm past the bitter. He's past the bitter. I see everything he's doing, and I'm proud of him that he's still going strong today. He tells me he's proud of me. And this is another reason why the book had to go the way that it did. And I remember when you did the interview on me, you asked me, is anybody going to get hurt from this book or get offended? I said no, because that's not the way that it was written. And trust me, I had to have conversations before I put this book out.
And that's why I wanted to make sure people know that the person is still married. Everyone is it. They healed from it. Everybody can. There is surviving after cheating. Now, it's not for everybody. Just like Jay-Z said, or whoever, I can't remember now. My bad. But it's not for everybody. So they are survived. They have survived. The marriage still goes on. They're still friends. Sometimes you don't have to be enemies. The person that I was in a relationship with that was cheating on his wife, to this day, like, she just is crazy. I got the inbox. I'm proud of everything you're doing. It's different. These are definitely different people, but I'm telling you that it doesn't have to be. If you are, God looks at the heart of man. If we're looking at the heart of people and our hearts are pure, we don't all have to be enemies. The person doesn't have to be my enemy because he didn't tell me that he was married and he got me into some sin. But that's my fault. That's all.
Okay, right.
But that's a different story. We're all friends. But thank you so much, Simply Monica. We can continue the conversation. Hold on,
Monica, I gotta say something, Monica. To all the people who might say that you were a home wrecker, it's like, yes, I absolutely was, and that is the word you need to be focusing on is the past tense. Was. And now, as you read through the book, like you said, you'll recognize that I've healed. But in order to know the healing, you got to know what I've healed from. And this is that people don't want to focus on because their negative mindset won't allow them to look at, there's always a story behind the ending. And so you just keep going, stay there. Stay there.
Also, in the beginning of the book, the dedication page also reads, "This book is dedicated to the people who inspired this book, yet will never read this book. Thank you." That's in the dedication page of this book. So, because I knew it was coming. So, and I was ready for it.
All you have to say is this, and this is what I say all the time: those who hate make others investigate. The more they hate, the more they make others investigate, and make those who investigate turn into those who appreciate.
I like that. I'm about to write that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And Monica, you covered all your bases. You did self-healing, you did spiritual healing, you did accountability, and you did forgiveness. That's your part. And once you made your apology, this book is part of your apology for your actions before.
That's all it is. For sure.
Forgiveness is not for you, it's for them.
Absolutely.
So whoever hasn't forgiven you that was bothered by it, you've made your amends and made your apologies. It's in their spirit now. Your spirit has been clean. And I'm proud to see where you are from knowing you as long as I've known you and engaging with you as long as we have. Because I remember our talks during the day when I'm running and you running and we just blowing off steam. And I appreciate being one of those people to see you and to find your way back to Allah. Alhamdulillah, that you would be able to do exactly what he would have you do to be the best version of you for the world to see that he is real. Period.
Thank you. All blessings have been coming my way, you guys. I'm telling you, like, it was the best decision that I could have ever made, was to just come back to where I was searching and I knew I needed to. And again, I have so many friends that are Christians and everybody walks in their own faith, but this is where I am. This is who I am. And this year after Ramadan, though, I'm not letting go of Simply Monica. I'm not letting go of Monica Mason, but I will, moving forward after Ramadan, during Ramadan, be required that people call me by my attribute, which is Fatima. So that's coming.
Fatima, oh yeah.
I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
so
we're gonna talk anyway. Because we still got a makeup to do, so we're gonna talk anyway.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna post that? That's your name.
I'm gonna call you Fatima right now. I'm gonna call you Fatima right now.
Absolutely. You have no clue how many phone calls I get from my big brother Perry P. So you have no clue how many phone calls I get from Perry P. And if y'all know Perry P, he's not somebody you want to be messing with like that. So
gotcha. Okay.
Absolutely.
Live it. Anybody else? I mean, we are actually we've been over the show, but if we wanted to go on to any topics, because it still seemed like You know, Disco be over there like on some. I need to listen.
I did
Y'all
have
crazy.
one question, Shell, because I gotta go. Because I
There's
have,
one brother had a question. Yeah, go ahead, sir. For real.
actually, it was two questions. I think what I got from this conversation and listening to everybody, I thought observing this, I think the narrative is, I think it's three things. I think is choice, um, desires, and basically, I guess a dignity standpoint. I guess what I hear from everybody and the wants all come from experience. Wants and don't wants come from experiences, right? The reason why we're not dealing with this person is because what I went through back in the day, you know what I mean? Just that, yep.
Yeah, I like that.
I've seen this happen with my parents, so I'm not gonna go with this girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when we get to the age that we are right now, it's like I'm already fixed on that. That's not gonna change. I'm not dealing with this type of person that deals with X, Y, and Z. But this person right here has at least A, B, and C. You know what I mean? He might have a little X, Y, but I'll take the A, B. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm getting from as far as us being at this age, saying what we want, as opposed to we know what we want, but what are we going to sacrifice from ourselves to get what we want? Because it's not just going to be a cut and dry thing where as though you're going to get exactly what you want. I know we all understand that. So, but what you want sometimes is not automatically what you need. You know, it's not a lot of needs talked about as far as our desires in a relationship or sex or what have you. And I did want to ask if Dr. David Pulley was still here. There's two things I was really thinking about. One was when it comes to the choices that we make, are most of them based on our whole life experience? And does that hinder what we actually want? And two is from a sexual perspective, I've always noticed in my lifetime that sex changes things because we don't understand the scientific part of sex. You know, we know what it does on the outside and inside, but scientifically, we don't understand why we're so attached to each other, especially when you're young and after you have sex. I know the women be like, well, why am I thinking about this dude so much? Like, oh, we did. But at the same time, you had sex with him. That's why that trigger, from my understanding, that's why that trigger is enhanced, but you don't understand the science behind it. So when we talk about having sex at this age, shouldn't we be kind of educated like on some master's degree type of shit where as though we know exactly, you understand what I'm saying? Like we have to have our experiences be our teachers as well. We have to reflect and go back and wonder, well, why am I acting this way? Or why am I making these choices? Or are they better for us in the long run? Is the choice that I'm making going to benefit me and everyone around me? Or is it because I have a personal choice, whereas though I'm not going to bang with this person, or I'm not going to make this, you know what I'm saying? So I want to know if it's choices that hinder us as far as getting what we actually want, or what we actually need instead of what we want. And does sex from a scientific perspective throw a whole bunch of stuff out of the gate because mentally we're not educated on how sex works scientifically, you know, male to female, you know, DNA and all this other stuff that goes in play. What's your take on that?
My man Smitty with the deep question. That's my man. That's my man.
Yeah,
You
from a
know,
personal
and
perspective. Yeah.
absolutely, man. But it's a great one because you know that what you just asked is really what everything else we've been talking about is really what it's all about. It's that behind the scenes stuff. See, like you were saying, most people deal with the stuff that's on the surface, the physical, right? But there's much deeper stuff going on in the spiritual and in the scientific, which really the scientific is just a technical mathematic, as you were putting it, expression of really what's going on in the spiritual. Everything is really spiritual. We don't see it like that, but that's why a lot of people are limited, because they don't see what's really going on behind the veil, if you will, right? So both of your questions are actually tied in, right? So the in terms of the first question, yes, it's our experiences, and like I was saying, epigenetics, right? Epigenetics, or as I used to put it, and still is true, spiritual genetics. The experiences we have kind of solidify our psyche, how our mindset, our paradigm, how we frame the world, the lenses with which we take in the world and understand the world. So, and I apologize, the son at this time of day just wants to get all in my face. But you know, what I mean, it's that kind of background that causes us to have certain cravings, want certain things, desire certain things instead of others. And then the more we indulge in that, the more we choose that, the more we're turning on certain genes that match that behavior, that match that lifestyle. And so we wind up getting certain things physically, even when we get older, certain diseases and things that match that lifestyle, because the genes go with the choices. The two are hand in hand, right? So the scientific aspect of a soul tie, if you will, from having sex, right, is not only the oxytocin, the dopamine, those are neurochemicals, hormones and neurochemicals inside the body, the inside stuff. That's the science that goes on from having sex. We get endorphins, dopamine,
The neurotransmitters.
Oxytocin. Those things get turned on and excited during sex, right? Now here it gets added. Now why? Obviously, if it physically feels good, if it so I have a 4 pillars model and theory. If y'all remember, all things in life can be placed on 4 pillars of spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. So all things are happening and working together, all 4 of them. Now, out of the 4, you have the high tower, which is the top 2 pillars, spiritual and mental, and the low tower, emotional and physical. The enemy, Satan, Shaitan, Baphomet, Iblis, all these names he has is one entity, a negative entity that's out to cause all of us to not elevate, get closer to God, get closer to the truth. That entity always is tempting our low tower, which is our emotions and our flesh, our lust, to rise above the high tower, right? So those neurochemicals are prone to and predisposed to match the enemy and his goal of trying to keep us from elevating, evolving, being our highest selves, being with the one God has for us, all of that. The more we succumb to that and keep making those choices, the more we solidify that we stagnate and don't grow. So when we rise above that and make the opposite choices, and when we see that there are deeper things behind the veil, behind her having big breasts and big butt, behind him having a big joint and all that muscles and all that, if we can get beyond the physical and beyond the good feeling of it emotionally and physically, and get to the depth of, well, who is this person? Who are they really? I like what my man Malik said, that there's a difference between sexual intimacy and the deeper kinds of intimacy, which is spiritual, mental, and emotional intimacy. That's when you're really getting to know that person, right? So those neurotransmitters, if we're not careful, and if they become like a drug. Basically, street drugs mimic what happens in the body naturally. That's why people start to get so addicted to it, because basically the same feeling we get from having sex, people have found a way to put that in a syringe and shoot that up. So now you can get it without even needing another person. Or I can get that same feeling that I feel when I bust. I can get that feeling without another person. Yeah. And some people, y'all were talking about bobs and vibrators, that too. Right. So that stuff happens. And as long as we become slave to the physical, slave to the emotional, then we're not elevating spiritually and mentally, which is really what it's really all about. So that soul tie goes much deeper, and then we have spiritually transmitted issues and connections, right? We sometimes we're connected to another person based on the very thing that's meant to hold us back. So if I'm an alcoholic, and I wind up having sex with someone who has the same predisposition to being alcoholic,
you're gonna connect hard.
You want to connect on that issue, that spiritual issue. And then when you're trying to break from that and you're trying to go into recovery, or you're trying to abstain from alcohol, but you already smashed with this person who has the same issue, you've just doubled or tripled your challenge of breaking that generational curse.
Okay,
So that's the spiritual and scientific stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
All right, so let me ask you quick. I know I said I had to go, but by the way, I'm starting a new series on Melanated Frequency channel on YouTube. I hope y'all subscribe to the channel. I got something coming out called Indoctrinated Blackness. But at the same time, let's just say, because I believe in indoctrination, right? And I think it's indoctrinated stereotypes and indoctrinated behaviors that we adopt, okay? So what you were just saying, let's just say that the woman that I'm looking at right now is intoxicating just by vision, okay? Now I'm getting high off her looking so cute and whatever, is to me, it makes me high, right? Now, even though I'm a piece of crap, I'm just saying, okay? Just say I'm a piece of crap, but I have this desire with the woman, and we end up meeting, and the vibe is cool, and I'm still not understanding the sexual part, whereas though the science and the desire is stronger because of the sex. What I think what I'm trying to get at is like, where do we understand or try to understand where we basically have control? How do we understand that we can control those things, but at the same time, even though we're not taught those things, kind of hard to control when you're not introduced to them. But we're introduced to the glam girl, the model, the one that got the hand model, the people on TV, they all have a certain look, a certain way, and that's supposed to be a standard when it comes to certain people and how they feel the world should work. When you get that, and the science of the sex comes in, like, how do you control that? When as though you already was attracted to the person, you already had this dopamine going on before you even touched the woman. So it's kind of like you got a hit already, you know what I mean? And then you get the ultimate hit with the sex, and it's like, I think that's where a lot of people who get into relationships can't control the other person, or don't understand the other person, because they're so high off of you that they can't control themselves. Is that possible? Is that possible?
Absolutely. Like, so going back to those 4 pillars, right? More so the towers, right? So the high tower, again, is the spiritual and mental pillar. The low tower, or the flesh. So whenever you see ancient writings, the Bible, Quran, the Maya, the Book of the Dead, whenever you see things like flesh, it's talking about this low tower, the emotions and the physical, our actual physical body, our primitive desires, according to Sigmund Freud, are sex and aggression. Right? So that's that low tower, right? So for those who want to elevate, to a point where they can control, they can have a higher level of self-control, self-restraint, that really, it takes ascension, elevation, evolution, right? We have to go higher. You can't, without, if you keep your low tower, that physical and emotional pillar above your high tower, you will not evolve or elevate beyond a certain point. That control, we want, so anger, controlling anger and rage, that desire to, if somebody really disrespect the crap out you, that desire to get your gun and shoot them in the face, that's a primitive, drive. That's a limbic system. The limbic system is the brain inside of a brain. They call it the reptilian brain. That's a reptilian brain response or reaction, I should say. It takes elevation in the spirit and the mind to get to the point where you can recognize that, be self-aware enough to control yourself and stop that. You know what I mean? So if you want to get to the point where you can elevate high enough, Shelly, I'm hearing some feedback.
I don't know. I didn't know where it's coming from.
So if you want to get to a point where you can,
I'm sorry. Who has background noise? The TV or something?
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah, thank you. So if you want to get to the point where you can control that and maintain your forward progression towards whatever goal it is you have. People who want to get off drugs, people who want to get out sex addiction, people who want to change their diet and get their bodies right, get back into the gym. All of that takes mental strength and spiritual understanding and a spiritual awakening. And the mind is so key, because out of all of those pillars, the one that gets you from the low tower to being a high tower focused person is the mind. That's why Jesus and a lot of the old prophets and a lot of the ancient writings, that's why they're always talking about knowledge and renewing your mind and being aware. Know thyself from ancient Egypt, or Kemet to be more accurate, right? Know thyself, knowledge, know physician, heal yourself, right? Once we begin to know ourselves, then we have the ability to heal ourselves, to make better choices, to grow and be self-controlled and self-restraint. And we can break any chains of any indoctrination, slave mentality, institutional racism, all that stuff, all that's psychological warfare. Divide and conquer, breaking people apart, getting in between. And this is all the enemy. This is all Lucifer or Baphomet or whatever name you want to give him. Like I said, it's one entity. This is him, divide and conquer. If I could get men against women, if I could get blacks against whites, if I get Muslims against Christians, if I could get rich people against poor, then he's winning. And if we let him by being gullible to his tricks. So we have to use our mind to become woke, to be awakened to the stuff that's going on beyond the matrix, right? Outside of get out of the matrix into the real world of what's going on, which is the spiritual. And until that happens, we can't break and elevate and grow as much as we desire to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good word, sir.
Before you go, Smitty, they're asking for your, I think I saw it in the chat. I think Malik is saying drop your social media, because you were saying that you were doing something, you want people to follow you. So drop your social media.
I just created a YouTube page called Melanated Frequency. Melanated Frequency. I haven't uploaded any videos yet, but it's going to be a whole bunch of videos just pertaining to, the melanated people of the world, education, little small documentaries, short video clips. I'm into cryptocurrency now. I'll be shooting some stuff up about that. And yeah, just go ahead and follow Melanated Frequency channel. Let me pull it up real quick to make sure that's the name of it, because I haven't really put anything on it yet. But yeah, I still have the Groove Boy channel. So, but I haven't been shooting anything yet because I haven't shot anything in a year because of the COVID situation, even including the show. So that stopped a whole lot of production. So I said, I got all this equipment here, so I might as well start, doing a little podcast and stuff like that. So,
Smitty, again, you said it's melanated frequency.
Yes.
Melanated frequency, melanated, huh?
I like that.
Melanated Frequency.
I like that name.
On YouTube, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, let me pull that up.
Awesome. So I appreciate anybody else have any questions. We do definitely well over time, but you know what? To get Smitty to talk, I mean the man who's behind the camera, who coming in with his great questions, his
Great
insightful
question.
questions. Like listen, like that was deep. But I'm so glad you had the opportunity to come on and say something. And Dr. Pulley for I mean, like it's been a while since we've seen either of you. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's
It
been
was
a
perfect
while,
timing.
yo.
It was perfect timing.
That's
I'm
what's up,
glad.
man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm so glad you had the opportunity because I know, I mean, with marriage and all, I don't understand why married people don't spend time with single folks. I don't know why they be scared. Why they scared of? Why are married people
I don't
scared
think
of?
that's true. That's a stereotype. I hang with plenty of single people telling me not to get married, and then you have the married people telling the single people to get married.
How
And
many single people did you hang around with when you were married? How many single people? You didn't hang around with. Well, I guess you did.
besides y'all,
not you particularly, but because you did.
Well, I would say, I guess I could say that it wasn't actually single people. I mean, it was people that were dating. It was people that was involved with relationships most of the time that I was around. You can call that single, I call it single, you know what I mean? Because you're single until you're married. You really don't, I guess you make it a relationship, you make it a marriage before you get the ring and the ceremony and all that. But I believe single is single, married is married. And like I said in the beginning, everyone has their own interpretation, own individual interpretation of what a marriage is. That individual couple makes that marriage the way they want it, the way they see it. Their backgrounds could be completely different, and they come to a common ground and make that marriage what they is. And I know it's a lot of marriages that I've not been involved with, but people that I've known who would not go about marriage the way I would. And it's completely normal. You know what I mean? Even when it involves other people. And it's been going on for years, like unscathed. And I'm like, well, how can you do that? But my interpretation of marriage is totally different from theirs. So, in all honesty, I like the fact that what I've learned from the show is that it's so, I think it's common for me to know that how diverse the world is. And none of us have to be in a stereotype or stuck on something just because it's a trend. We can always make our world the way we want it to. You know what I mean? And sometimes we have to find those people that are like-minded. And I think when you go in head first thinking that way, you trying to get in a relationship won't be as hard, or uh, I guess it won't be a weight on your shoulders. A lot of people are looking for a relationship. Me personally, the way I feel about relationship is if I fall into one, that's cool.
If you
You know what I
fall
mean?
into, you
If it
gonna fall
happens
into it.
naturally, you know what I mean? Organically, and you know what I mean? Things just happen to happen. I'm with that. There's no pressure. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not, you know what I mean? Because sometimes when people look for something, their intentions and their mentality is, I gotta get this, I gotta get this, I gotta get this. And there's no fallback and calming down and be like, no, let me fall back, calm down. What do I what do I really, really want? And what am I really going to sacrifice to make this work? And I think out of all the shows we did, it was too little of a conversation of what we're going to sacrifice ourselves to make our relationship dream happen. Because I know I've watched the shows after we recorded them. I had to watch them a million times to edit it. So, I've seen a lot of conversations over and over again. And in all those shows that I've edited, I think what needs to be brought up a little bit more, Shelly, in these shows is what are we going to sacrifice ourselves to get what we want? Because I hear a lot about what we want. Yo, this is what I want. I'm not putting this aside, but this is what I want. All right, but what are you going to sacrifice? Because you got to know that the person that you're going to get involved with is going to have to sacrifice something too to get with you.
But do we want to use the word sacrifice, or do we want to use the word change and mature from? because sacrifices sometimes we give them up for just that moment until you get with the person. Because I think that's another problem, and that's a whole nother show when it comes to relationships. People, the newness of the relationship, it's almost like they're not who they really are. You know, they tell you you got to pay attention. The person's going to show you who they really are.
Right.
Sometimes people don't show you the bad sides of them. That's why the communication has to be there. That's why the conversation about likes and dislikes, we have to have them.
Okay,
and it's as uncomfortable as the conversation about intimacy is, it's a conversation that has to be had. And when we're talking about that, because one of the things that you were saying in regards to sex addiction, a person, when you ask them about that whole masturbation thing, they might need to masturbate to help them heal from a sexual addiction. So those are things that we want to talk about too. So at that point, is that a deal breaker for some people?
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm probably coming from. I'm probably coming from a marriage perspective. I'm probably coming from a marriage perspective.
You've been married for you married for like how long were you married?
15 years.
15 years. So yeah, you only know marriage right now. You only, but the thing is, you're right. No, but you're right. You have to I mean, when he's using the word sacrifice, it's not. It sounds like a thing that you don't want to do, but we do have to give up a little bit of ourselves to intertwine with someone else, and it could be a sacrifice. So if you say, why don't we talk about it too much? Because honestly, I'm single because I don't want to sacrifice, and that is the truth. The reason why I haven't made it to marriage is because more than likely we get to a point where it comes to a sacrifice that I have to give up, and I don't give it up.
And that's good.
So, and I'm just going to be honest with you. If it came to it, I was in a relationship for the last, year or whatever, but I didn't want to sacrifice my career for a man. When it came down to it, when COVID hit, all I cared about was my boo. This is this computer. I love my computer. This is my boo. So I don't want to sacrifice. I'm not going to sacrifice building my business to sacrifice my time for a man, because it is some sacrifice. I got to sacrifice if I spend time with you, I can't do my website. If I spend time with you, so we do have to sacrifice. And if you're asking me, what do I have to sacrifice to give up for a man? More than likely, I'm not sacrificing, which is why I'm single on a Saturday night.
So I get
Single on a
that.
Saturday
I get
night.
that.
I like that.
I get
like
that
that.
part, right? So I get that. But when you're talking about you're not sacrificing your big entity, like it's just like me saying, look, I'm not giving up Blue Boy Entertainment. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not going to give up being a video producer. I can say that. And that's, that's a broad.
Someone has to turn their TV off.
That's a broad way of looking at it. I'm talking about the little things. I'm talking about, the little intimate things that y'all have together. I'm talking about changing your attitude type of sacrifice. I'm talking about, things like that, whereas though you start from the small thing, you engage with someone, throughout the course of the day, and you have a conversation. Throughout the course of time, there's going to be some things that you don't like to respond to. There's going to be some things you don't like to be asked about because you're building in the relationship. I'm talking about sacrifices like that. We're not talking about the big fish, because if you keep this is my belief.
But Smitty, though that's the thing. That's the thing about this. That's the whole thing about the dynamic of the relationship. It's encompassed of the two people there,
right?
And if the two people there can't work it out, then maybe that those two aren't meant to be together, because there is someone that will come along and not ask Shelly to sacrifice what makes her go and tick every day. And they might have either not even either, but they have something else to measure against that, to say, okay, well, if that's what keeps her, then I have to have something that keeps me, because it's incumbent on the two people, because it's not a one size fit all. There's really no one answer to what the little thing for some people might not be a little thing to somebody else, and vice versa to the big issues. Of course, no one wants to be cheated on, lied to, and abused. I think those are just kind of like three tenets that across the board, we can all agree that nobody wants to have to deal with that. But when you start talking about the other things, for some people, it's communication. How do you talk? Can we talk regularly? Some other people, it's sexual intimacy. For other people, it might just be a spiritual foundation, and those little things to one person might be different, whereas your little things might consist of whatever A, B, and C are. And if it's not for this lady number one or that lady number two, then maybe lady number three likes a couple of them, but lady number four kind of fits the bill and says, you know what, I can respect that. I understand that because I like to have my time and space to do these things at this time. You know, it's really, you know, it's really it's like puzzle pieces. You got 1,000 pieces in the puzzle, but guess what? All of them don't necessarily go to the other ones. They got to go to the ones that bring the whole picture together.
But I think that's a good show topic. Honestly, I think that next month we're going to do married people. So we're going to have a couple of married couples who are going to come in. So we'll add that as one of the major topics, because when it comes to it, like Storm is saying, there are a lot of little big, but there's a lot of sacrifice. And believe it, marriage to me, and I'm on the outside, I've never been married. To me, marriage seems like it takes a lot of sacrifice of who you are to combine with someone else.
Marriage,
I think it depends on the individual.
Marriage is what?
Marriage is a whole nother job. It really is, and there's plenty of overtime and no extra pay. It just
It depends on the person, man. Look,
it depends on your marriage.
Been in marriage.
That's your perspective.
But here's the thing.
You do have to. You are saying that you have to make sure that you keep working at it in order.
No matter what, you have to work at it. You know, it's not just about my perspective. For anything to work in any type of relationship, whether it be marriage, business, whatever, it takes two. It takes all those involved to work.
It takes sacrifice, which you were saying. Everything takes sacrifice. But we don't talk about it enough. You know why we don't talk about it? Because you didn't bring it up. Since now that you brought it up, Smitty, Since now that you brought it up, it's going to be next month's topic, because I really think it is deep, because I have a problem. I know.
Shelly, the whole time I was doing those shows, you know, I was married, right? So I'm like, and people are saying, when I get married, this is what's going to happen. And when I get married, that's what's going to happen. I'm like, yo, you know what? I had the same thoughts. I knew exactly how I was going in. I knew the husband I was going to be, you know, from the door. Like, because I already knew, you know, I already built that up. Yeah, this type of husband I'm for. This guy, and take those, you know, lessons and whatnot and implement it into me being a husband. But her desire for a different type of husband was not the same type of husband I was bringing to the table. You know what I mean? Even though the love was there and, you know, desire to be with people was there and all that stuff like that, but we had to find out actually how we actually work, because the way we got married going in after my daughter was born. So we kind of like went right in. I like, all right, listen, I'm not going to be a baby dad. We just got to get married. That's just how it's going to happen. And we got married because I didn't want to be away from my child, no matter what the circumstances were. And the way I did it was like, you know what? Been in a relationship for a minute, getting married could be the icing on the cake, and we can work our way through it.
Right.
I wasn't the one that got married and planned 2 years and had $20,000 on the side and had a whole bunch of. I didn't do it that way. That was a waste of time for me. That was a waste of money. Because what if it didn't work out? Because of the way I'm going into the marriage. I'm going into the marriage because my daughter was here, and I'm like, well, I'm not really dealing with nobody else. I really don't want to see anybody else. Let's just get married and just make it work out. And for the first 7 years, for the first 7 years, it was war. It was war every week, because I had to fulfill her desires and she had to fulfill mine at the same time. So we're battling, trying to get our desires met instead of fulfilling each other's desires. So it came to a point where, as though we knew that we wanted to be with each other, but we didn't like the relationship. The relationship was going sour and all that stuff like that. We had to break away from each other. This is newsflash, right? Newsflash.
Right.
So
yeah, wow.
It came down to a point where, as though we wanted the same thing, but we had to figure that out. We wanted the same thing. Look, we want this relationship to work. We want to be here for our kids, and I love you, you love me, blah blah blah. How are we going to do this? How are we going to make this work? Because there is a way for every problem. I mean, for every problem, there's a solution. We
Right.
just got to figure out what the solution is. So
Hey, hey,
we went to counseling.
I was going to say that. Yep, counseling.
We
Yep.
went to counseling. We did that, and we just made promises to each other. Where though, look, if this is going to be something we're going to argue about, then we're just not going to argue. We're just going to calm down, you know. And for the first few weeks, that didn't work. So following weeks after that, every time I would, I guess, raise my tone, she'd be like, all right, cool, yeah, we'll talk about it. For 3 weeks. And then after that, I found out, like, you know what? I respect that because you're sacrificing for this relationship. And I'm not realizing that you're sacrificing for me, not arguing with me because you realize it's petty. Look, basically, she said, I'm going to still on my word no matter what you do. Basically, she taught me how to interact in relationship. And why am I saying this? Is because even when you're in a relationship, even when you're in a marriage, I don't care how much you think you know your person. Every day you are learning.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you're growing. Every day you're going to find out something different. You know how many skeletons are in this closet after 30
Mm-hmm.
years? And you
Mm-hmm.
know everything about that person? No, there's gonna be some things like, you know, babe, I never told you this, but you know, when we first got together, and you'd be like, well, damn, I'm glad I told you now because back then I would have whipped your ass. But I'm glad you're telling me now, now that we're in this public space. You know what I mean? So it's a lot in my experience, in my opinion, that goes along with marriage. If I said I had a woman that I was married to and we never had an argument, that'll be a blessing. But I know that exists. So I can't say that I can never be in a relationship whereas though I can never go and not have an argument.
So
Because
wait a minute, hold, Smitty. Can I ask you a question real quick?
yeah,
How long you been married?
I was married for 13 years. I'm a widower now.
Okay. During those 13 years, was there ever a point where you just said, I had enough, I want to walk away or whatever? Even though y'all didn't do it, did you ever get in that mind space?
Even though we didn't do what?
Walk away from each other.
You didn't walk away from each other.
I would, you know what? When we split apart,
No,
I
no, no,
wouldn't
no,
say I
no.
was walking away from each other.
No, I guess I was asking, I was assuming that y'all didn't.
No, no. I mean, I wouldn't even call it splitting apart. I went to live with my mom for like a month. That was it. But I was like 20 minutes away from the house. You know what I mean? So it wasn't really, you know, she knew where I was. She knew where if she needed me for the kids. It wasn't like, we're not talking for like 3 weeks, but we had to get out of the same house because the energy we were building together had to be cut off. That energy had to be cut off. And I was willing to leave home because I was tired of it too. Mentally, it wasn't doing any good. And sometimes it would bleed into the kids, you know what I mean? Unintentionally, you know what I mean? And they were small at the time. So ultimately, I wanted the marriage to work, but I realized that I had to sacrifice myself and be like the bigger person, just say leave. Like I would, some people be like, well, no, this is my house. I'm the man. I ain't going nowhere. I don't have time for all that. I'll leave.
And you know what? And that's the maturity level of things. And again, if you guys go back to the initial interview that I did with Single on Saturday Night, my ex-husband and I, we got married so young. Like I was 24, he was 18. That's the part a lot of people didn't know as well. I was 24 years old, he was 18. So when he stepped out, he was still a kid. You know what I mean? Even though he was my husband, then turned into my son's father, because I already had 2 children, which again, I respect anybody who says whatever they say about the title of the book or the part that I played in the book. But moving forward in who I am today, and like I said, I have no intentions at this point of wanting to be in another relationship because I think I have too much work to do in helping other people not go down the same road that I did or make the same mistakes that I made. And like Smitty just said, not so much as using the word sacrifice, but the communication and making the changes and the ability to want to save it. Would I have done anything different? Absolutely. When it first happened, we probably could have talked more, but I look at the maturity level that we both were on. Because remember, I said when I did it to him, I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting you back." I was in "I'm gonna get you back" mode. That wasn't mature. That wasn't mature at all. You know, no matter how old I was at the time, that was not a mature action or a statement to even try to live by. So moving forward, because I do have a 3-book deal. So His Woman, His Wife, My Man, book 2, and the finale is all coming out. And they're all books that are going to be able to help people identify in these relationships, whether you're going to stay in them, for what reason you're going to stay in them, and things of that nature. And doing the vision boards. Because to me, a vision board is something that if you put it on that board, that ultimate goal should not be the end of your life, especially if you're still living. You know, you have the ability to change your vision board because you have the ability to change your life. So where I'm at in my mindset and my spirit is today is helping people not go through what I went through, identifying that you don't want to do this. I mean, it's lust, it's not right. And yes, you will be hurting somebody and you'll be hurting yourself in the interim. So
that's right.
Like people can say whatever they want to about the book and the things that I did in my past. And I may, I'm saying this today. I don't know what really the future holds for me, but I know what I want. It's not guaranteed that it's going to be that way.
You can write a book about tiddlywinks and all great things, and people would still have something to say. So I wouldn't even get into that.
For real.
Right.
Is that Nina Kapur over there?
Hi, y'all. She came in a while ago. Yeah, but we were talking. Hi, Nina. I know. I was like, oh, she came in. I saw you on Facebook, and I was like, oh, and then you came in. So thank you for coming. Salute to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, literally right now we really just talking. We was listening and just really like, I guess because we not live. Normally we would have been karaokeing by now. At this time, we would have been doing some karaoke, eating some food, and really, that's what we really would have been doing. But so we're just talking. So thank you for joining us for really just talking.
No, this is good. This is good. This is good. This is interesting, especially being someone who's this is my second marriage, newlywed.
You married now?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah. And
were you weren't always in garb, that's different.
No. Well, I've always been Muslim, but now I'm in garb. So yeah, I'm calming down. This is my control.
Oh, I
make this marriage work.
Nina is my go-to girl. We kind of did this together.
Oh, okay, good. Because I know throughout the years I've never seen you in garb. I didn't know. We don't never talk about religion all the time, but I didn't know you were Muslim. But I never saw you in garb until today. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, do it together. Listen, Wayne, you know Wayne, super producer Wayne Cheto is in the building. Yes.
Yeah.
Super producer. I need a song produced. I want to sing. I want to do something. Let's sing a song because he's a producer. But it is just amazing just to talk to everybody. Smitty, I promise you, this is like the first time in the 25 years, no, 20-something years I've known you that this as long as I heard you talk in my life. So I'm saying I'm glad that you're not behind the camera and you're able to talk because you might have questions about your life because you were married and you are a widower, and it's like, well, what was it like? But you gotta wait till somebody's willing to talk because that is such a, you went through a lot during that time. And it seems from the outside, it seemed like you had the perfect marriage. It just seemed, how people don't know, but you didn't seem like you had problems. It seemed like y'all was so cohesive in the whole unit, and that's what it seems like. But
yeah,
that's not really what marriage is.
That's what I was saying. Like after the first 7 years, we were married for 13. So after the first 7 years, we went to war to win the battle. Let's put it
Oh,
like that.
oh, you like that?
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
So
So the seventh year
it
is,
was like
is
8 years, whereas though we were trying to find out what was because we knew the potential. We knew we loved each other. There wasn't no doubt about that. I mean, we didn't cheat on each other. We wasn't about that. There was no worries there. And I think that's what was so unique about it is that you hear all these stories about those type of relationships and here you in one and you're not going through it. But after that, we kind of figured out what makes each other tick and not tick. We chose to sacrifice holding our tongue on some things or, I mean, pulling to the side on a private tip instead of doing out in the public, small things like that. And once we started building on it and we knew we was doing it in unison, it just made it a fun thing, actually, in my opinion. It was kind of fun, that
So you
people
think the seventh year is the
I don't believe in
crucial
that.
year?
Say it again. The
Are
what
you
year?
saying that the seventh year? Because I hear a lot of married.
Mm-hmm. That seventh
Seventh
year is
year.
the hardest. Yep. The first and the seventh. I think that definitely number 7 is a trying year for marriages if you make it that long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if that was the pivotal year. I don't know if that was the actual number, but I knew it just took that long. You know what I mean? So,
But it was well
and
worth
then you
it,
don't
right?
really put a number on it because if you're going through it, you're not even really keeping track of time. You know what I mean? Like, it's only after you fall back and reflect on, remember that year when this, that, and the other, and just things just started changing. And I think on top of us finding what made each other tick, when she got sick, it just made me more protective. And any other words you can bring up with that, when someone, gets a sickness, and mind you, like I have no education about lupus when it happened. I didn't even hear about lupus when she got diagnosed. So we're going through an education process along that whole time. So I think when you say that, we were in, it kind of showed is because we kind of like walking the same path, only that, she was going through it and I was learning the same process. So I think the
Re-
new thing when she started coming to the show was, all the aftermath of what we went through in the beginning. We found ourselves a little bit, and then when she got sick, it just turned more and more, I guess, this is it. We're gonna go through this for the long haul. We're at every ward. We're going everywhere, in unison. We're in the same place all the
And
time.
that's when you saw the love. That's what I said. I guess when you start seeing the love. Although I see you because y'all lived around the corner, but I'm saying,
Right.
but when you see the love, like wait a minute, y'all just love it, and she was able to come. So you were just in it for the long haul. The fact that when she was in the hospital for so long, you was holding it down. Like that's the
That's
stuff
when
that
you
people don't.
realize. That's when you realize where your love is. Like you don't know nothing about love, man. Like this is my personal opinion. The word love is so overrated. It's a sin because, in my humble opinion, I've been doing some studying. I love everyone and I love everything and I love everybody. And that's so hard for people to understand and grasp that because they can't conceive that. Reason why I can say that is because I realized going in head first that everybody's different. Everybody has different backgrounds. Everybody has a different discipline they grew up with. Everybody has different experiences. For someone to come up to me and say, you a piece of trash and don't know me, why would it bother me? You don't know me, bro. Like, you don't know me. So why would I engage in your lower vibrating frequency? So what I'm saying is when
That's good.
I learned what love was when I said that I wouldn't do any of those things for a sick person before I got in a relationship. Like I said, I couldn't see myself doing that. I couldn't see myself, taking care of somebody or, you know what I mean? I couldn't see myself doing that. This is before I even got married. This is before I got in a relationship. While I was in it and I was actually doing it for her, realize that, yo, I can do anything in a relationship because the power that's given that I'm given to do these things is the love. Like the power of love is making me, hey, if she threw up, I gotta clean it up. I would never do that. I'm sorry. If anybody threw up, if any of one of y'all threw up, I'm sorry, I'm not cleaning it up. But when oh my God, it's like an epiphany to me. You know what I mean? That that you can love in ways that you never imagined because you put yourself in the box where as though, I'm only loving this person because of what they can do for me or how they make me feel, how they treat my children. And it's way
Wait a minute,
beyond that.
Dr. David Pulley is getting ready to leave. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
brother.
I gotta go. And props to you, Smitty. Look, I know you're talking, so you didn't see my chat message. Shoot me your I sent you my number. Shoot me your number, man, because I want to connect with you. I got a couple projects that I want to have these kind of conversations with. So it's been good to hear your perspective, and it's been good to see all y'all. And Shelly, thanks again. Congratulations for 9 years. I pray nine times 9 more years of doing what you're doing. All right. So much love to y'all. And, for all of those who are single and are looking for and want your soulmate, I pray that person comes sooner than later. Much love, y'all.
Amen.
All right. All right, y'all.
All right. So let me finish it real quick, and I'm gonna go too. I think what I was trying to say, Shelly, was especially for the people who haven't been in a marriage, it's kind of tough to understand what your love is. I know that people they already know exactly how much love they're going to put out, how much the love they're going to get out, to certain people. And some people is just oblivious with it. They just love no matter what. I'm giving my all to you. We're together, just that together. I think what I'm trying to say is I didn't know the potential of love I can give to anyone until those days.
The reason why, real quick to me, the reason why I asked you that question, I think Shelly's the only one that knows what I'm getting ready to reveal. I'm glad we're not really on the air, but I don't want my.
We live on Facebook.
Yeah, we live on Facebook. Mm-hmm.
Oh, never mind.
Wait a minute, I can stop. I really can. We good.
You know where I was getting ready to go.
Do a closeout though, Shelly.
Yeah.
I had to go find. I was looking for the remote. I mean the remote. I was looking for the thing. All right, everybody. Hey, everybody on Facebook. This is Single on a Saturday Night. Every fourth Saturday of the month we do this. It is a special day. It is 9 years, and for 9 years we had so many wonderful people, so many special guests, so many calls, and our guest for today was simply Monica. And how do you say? And her name is Fatima. And thank you so much. Go out and buy her book, His Woman, His Wife, My Man. It is available. It is a #1 bestseller. It is a book you want to read if you want to get into a healing mode. What it's like to go through the process of from pain to healing. Some people don't understand it, but you can go from pain to healing. So make sure you go get the book. Make sure you listen to Heat 100 Radio, the morning show on every morning. I mean, listen, even through COVID, she was in that building. Like, we doing the show. Yes, we had. It was like right at COVID. I think it was March. What was it? March. Your birthday's in March. So
it was March the 16th. I think was the day you came through.
Yep. Even March, we still hanging out doing shows. So thank you to Simply Monica, aka Fatima. Said it right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool beans. We're gonna say bye to Facebook so we can really talk. so we can get some healing going on. Let's go.
Hallelujah.